Yeah. I think he's down to like 300, 280 there. So doing well.
Oh, yeah.
What is it?
Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the Harlingen City Commission. It's always nice to have a full town hall. Thank you so much for being here with us today. The time is 5:32 p.m. We are calling this meeting to order. It has been duly posted as required by state law. We have a full quorum of the commission as everyone is present. At this time, I'll ask for everyone to please rise. Those of you that are in your seats, rise as we begin the invocation. Let us pray. Father, let understanding guide our responses and empathy shape our decisions. Help us remember that each person here seeks safety and stability for the same streets we all call home. May we replace blame with collaboration, fear with resolve, and division with solidarity. Grant this commission the wisdom to act with integrity, the courage to pursue the common good, and the grace to uplift every single neighborhood that we serve. In your name we pray, amen. Amen. Now the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did he get it?
All right, and Mark?
Under state law, a conflict of interest exists if a commission member or certain members of that person's family has a qualifying financial interest in an agenda item. Members with a conflict of interest cannot participate in the discussion or vote on the agenda item. Are there any known conflicts of interest to disclose at this time?
None.
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 None. None.
Item 3, announcements. With respect to items not listed elsewhere on this agenda, the City Commission may report on items of community interest, including announcing community events, announcing employee or community recognitions. Items 3A, Mayor's announcements. Mayor, would you have any announcements to disclose?
Well, we don't have them here today, but I do know that we have Mr. Javier Segura in the back. He has graciously opened the doors to the JROTC of the Harlingen High School, and has given them this nice breakfast to fill their bellies on their way to compete, and has done that for the last 3 years. And this year, they went off from the Harlingen Convention Center and then came back as national champions. They represented Harlingen in Florida and brought home the first place trophy. So we want to give them all, I know they're not here, but they're watching at home, I'm sure, to give them a round of applause. Also, we have this weekend on Friday, we have the second annual Mother's Day event, a serenade for the mothers and the grandmothers and the tias and the, anyone that serves in the capacity of serving and raising children. We are asking them to come and join us at the Harlingen Auditorium, and that is going to be at 5 p.m., 5:30. 5:30 at the Harlingen Auditorium. Last year was wonderful. We have our fire department that is going to be present providing roses to the first, how many girls? First 300 moms that walk through the door will be greeted with a rose. And so we hope to see all of y'all out there. In addition, HCISD is partnering with us again this year, and there'll be plenty of presentations as well. So that is all I have.
Okay, we'll move on to item 3B, City Manager's announcements. Mr. Gonzalez, do you have anything to announce?
Yes, I do. This Saturday, also at the Harlingen Convention Center, we're going to have the second Let's Get Down to Business, Let's Get Down to Business event from 10 to 2. So those of you that are wanting to open up a business, have questions, make sure you attend 10 to 2 at the Harlingen Convention Center. Thank you.
Item 3C, City Commission member announcements. Commissioners, do you have anything to announce?
I just want to thank Code Compliance, Public Works Assistant City Manager Josh Ramirez for their assistance at my community cleanup we did last Saturday, I don't know how many pounds of garbage and trash was turned in, but one of the big things, over 140 tires were turned in. And that's 140 tires that are not going to be laying around your alley or on a canal bank somewhere. So I encourage you, if when your district or your area has one of these, take advantage of it. Thank you.
None.
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 Okay. Item 4, proclamation, presentation of awards. We're going to mix it up a little bit, Mayor, so we're going to go ahead and start with the proclamation for the Food Allergy Awareness Week.
Alrighty.
Good evening, everyone. So our first proclamation is recognizing Food Allergy Awareness Week 2025, and I will read the proclamation as follows before I invite Sabina Puente to come up and receive. Whereas Food Allergy Awareness Week was established to support people who were impacted by food allergies and to raise awareness about this serious public health issue, and whereas approximately 32 million Americans, including 6 million children, live with food allergies, with the prevalence of food allergies increasing, particularly among young children under the age of 18, which is approximately 2 students per classroom. And whereas according to the Center of Disease Control and Prevention, between 1997 and 2011, the prevalence of food allergies rose to 50%. The 9 foods that account for 90% of all food allergy reactions are peanuts, tree nuts, milk, eggs, wheat, soy, fish, shellfish, and sesame. And whereas the food allergy is an immune system response to the food the body mistakenly believes is harmful, there is currently no cure for food allergies. Strict avoidance is the only way to prevent an allergic reaction, and it is a severe allergic reaction that comes on quickly and has a potential to become life-threatening. And now, therefore, I, Norma Sepulveda, Mayor of the City of Harlingen, Texas, on behalf of the City Commission, hereby proclaim week May 11th through the 17th, 2025 as Food Allergy Awareness Week, and encourage all residents of Harlingen to increase their understanding and awareness of this potentially life-threatening medical condition, improving the quality of life of the 32 million Americans affected by food allergies. Sabina, if you'd like to come up.
Hi, did you want to say a few words? All right. Well, it's okay. Showing up is the hardest part, I promise.
Thank you for officially proclamating the Food Allergy Awareness Week and supporting me on my Gold Award.
Awesome. We are here to support you in any possible way. And as a mom of a child that had severe allergies until he was about 5, he had an egg allergy. I know how important this is for working moms that have their kids in daycare and the constant stress of, is everything going to be okay? And are we going to respect everybody, individuals' allergies? And so it is definitely something that needs awareness, and what an incredible initiative for you to get behind. So thank you. Will the commission join me for?
May I say
Yes,
something
you may.
before we do? We always make a big deal out of people getting Eagle Scout, and that is huge, But being the grandfather of a young lady who got her Gold Award and seeing you, I mean, it is just as big a deal that we don't recognize often enough. So God bless you, congratulations. That is huge what you have accomplished.
Absolutely. What grade are you in?
I'm a sophomore.
You're a sophomore. Are you in his class?
No, she's my little cousin.
Oh, okay. I was like,
I'm sorry. I'm from the Cardinal campus.
oh, I don't know. All of a sudden, I love you just that much more.
You're outnumbered right now.
I was just kidding about that. All right, if we can join for a photo with the commission.
Yeah.
All right, did everyone ready? 3, 2, 1. One more. 3, 2, 1. Actually, one more. 3, 2, 1. Go.
Can I get one more for the commission to see? So we can get her back. And, can I have you turn?
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're going to.
Okay, everyone ready? 3, 2, 1. One more. 3, 2, 1. Got it.
You can have, Melinda, are you taking that with her?
Yes, she's
Yes.
she's doing that. Next up, we're going to go ahead and do the recognition award for the Harlingen High School South boys soccer team.
Good evening. Today, our first recognition award. The City of Harlingen congratulates and proudly presents this award to Harlingen High School South Hawks boys soccer team for an exceptional season and outstanding accomplishments. Second place District 32 5A finish, regional semifinal qualifier, by district and area champions, first Sweet 16 appearance in school history. Welcome Coach Julian Robles and team.
I love it. I know. Athletic. See all the little girls' badges, their whole badges. It's beautiful.
Yeah, go ahead. My name is Coach Julian Robles, and I would just like to say a few words. First of all, their hard work and determination has been over the top this year. Our seniors and the team united, I mean, incredibly, like we've never seen before in the history of boys soccer. And these boys did an excellent job and set records and wins, set records in pretty much everything from goals to everything. I mean, they work together so well. Fortunately, we have some great names coming back, some great boys coming back. So hopefully we look to surpass what we did this year. And I mean, they deserve a round of applause for everything they accomplished.
I'm just going to talk really loud because these boys are really tall. But if the commission can join us, we are so incredibly proud of each and every one of you. And Coach, thank you for your leadership. And awesome. Thank you for representing Harlingen and doing such an incredible job. We're all very, very proud of you. We'd love to take a photo. And if you don't want Commissioner Pettis to be in the photo, we're okay with that.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, guys, you're gonna, right here, then I'm gonna have you hold this here. I know. There we go. And I'm gonna stand right here with you. You can hug me, I don't mind. Just not today. I'm gonna take an angle. Okay, this way. All right, you're good? All right, and parents?
So it's gonna be a swim team, and then it's gonna be tennis leadership. And then we're gonna go with the national tennis, and then.
Seniors, if you're a senior, stay on. Seniors, stay on.
Congratulations, guys. So we'll get you to.
Hey, how you doing? Good to see you too.
Gordon?
We good, Mom? All right, fantastic, thank you.
Okay. Next, we have the recognition award for the Harlingen High School South Boys and Girls Swim Team.
The City of Harlingen congratulates and proudly presents this award to Harlingen High School South Hawks, boys and girls swimming and diving team. First time in South Texas winning both district championships. Welcome, Coach Hector Castañeda.
All right, awesome. So first, I want to congratulate my team. I also want to congratulate, or I wouldn't be here without first saying with my assistant coach, Jerry Garza here. If we can give him a round of applause really quickly. First thing I want to say is this program would not be successful without him by my side, helping and encouraging these kids to do everything they can. Big props to them. They come in every day. They know to be in the water at 6:45. Do not be late. They know this, and that does not mean getting dropped off at 6:45. That actually means being in the water at 6:45. So they come in, they work hard, and it translated to what we did this year. My girls have won district championships for this is their third time in a year that we've won district champs. And this is my boys' first time since 2012, but it's the first time in South history that we took home both trophies. So again, big round of applause for all the hard work that they did all this year. To make it short, I couldn't be more prouder than everyone here. So proud to be their coach and just to be, representing Harlingen South. Thank you.
So what an incredible achievement. Thank you, Coach. I'm going to hand over this recognition award. And we just want to tell you again how proud we are of you, district champs on both the boys and the girls. We couldn't be prouder for, representing Harlingen. And knowing that you're in the water at 6:45, I want to take a special moment to recognize the parents that are here that are supportive of this effort, because it does take strong families also to make sure that you have successful students. So this award is also for parents and the boys and girls, and definitely to the coaches. So kudos to you for doing such a great job for Harlingen. Can we give them another round of applause?
quick, I also wanted to mention that their coach Hector was also earned the Coach of the Year. That's real exciting.
And I always give Commissioner Bettis a hard time because that's just what we do. We have a lot of fun with our commission. We're a great team, but he is definitely a huge supporter of all of the students at South. And I don't know if you have a few words. I know most of these recognitions are because of his hard work of making sure that all of the information is given to us in a timely fashion so we can get certificates to everyone. And so we want to give you a minute if you have a few words. You're always talking, Commissioner.
I just want to say, I've had the pleasure of having some of you in my class, and it was great having you in my class. I know some of you right now, but then I know some of you had last year, and especially those of you that are seniors are about to graduate. It's wonderful that you're ending your high school careers with this district championship. And like I told you, especially the girls, you guys have been here every single year. I mean, the Hector's might as well get a parking spot. You guys are the embodiment of excellence, and I appreciate everything you guys do. And just like the mayor said, you guys make the city proud. Every time you go and compete and you do well, you do excellent, and you just make us proud. So thank you for being here, and I wish you the best of luck, the seniors, with whatever you're going to do on next. Those of you that are sophomores and might have me next year,
God bless.
Also, bringing it up here, I do want to say as well, my Coach Jerry, my assistant coach, he was also assistant coach of the year.
All right, congratulations.
Okay. Next, we have the certificate of recognition for the Gutierrez Middle School Boys and Girls Golf Team.
The City of Harlingen congratulates and proudly presents this award to Gutierrez Middle School Boys and Girls Golf members. Congratulations on your victory and achievements presented this 7th day of May 2025. Coach Adrian Galvan, if you please come up.
I like to say these kids put in a lot of hours, a lot of time. Even if it was raining or cold, I don't care. They were out there. They had to work, and I'm really proud of you guys. You guys did a lot, improved very quickly, worked as a team. You guys did great. I appreciate y'all. And I'm glad we're here. And thank you to the commission for allowing us to be recognized today. Mr. Pettis, thank you. I see you every day, so, there at South, so, thank you. But yeah, let's give them a round of applause.
We're very proud of you as well. Thank you for all your hard work and dedication at such a young age to be recognized and to be so disciplined. We are looking forward to all the great things you're going to continue to do in your golf career. Congratulations.
Okay, the proclamation and the pet of the week. The national tennis week. And then that's it.
The others don't have much.
This is mine, I think.
That's yours.
I don't know why this chair is so low.
Next up, we have the proclamation for the National Tennis Month.
All right.
Okay, so our next proclamation is to celebrate National Tennis Month, and I will be inviting Ramiro Cuevas from our HEB Tennis Center to come up after I read the proclamation as follows. Whereas tennis promotes physical fitness, mental well-being, and social encouraging active and healthy lifestyles for all ages. The sport fosters community inclusion and sportsmanship enjoyed by millions worldwide, from recreational players to elite athletes. Whereas the USTA partners with the local programs to expand access to tennis, including through USTA adaptive grants, ensuring opportunities for everyone. And whereas the HEB Tennis Center in Harlingen, being the premier tournament destination, was recently recognized as an outstanding facility of the year by the USTA, welcoming over 10,000 visitors in 2024 and serving over 500 active members, including local schools. And whereas Ramiro Cuevas was honored as the USTA Texas Certified Coach of the Year in 2024 for his dedication to the player development. And now, therefore, I, Norma Sepulveda, Mayor of the City of Harlingen, Texas, do by here proclaim the month of May 2025 as National Tennis Month in Harlingen, and encourage all residents to take advantage of opportunities to play tennis, improve their health, and strengthen our community. Ramiro, if you'd like to come up.
Well, thank you for having me. I would like to just let you know, Danny Diaz is our new Parks Director, and one of his big things is just having pride in what you do and what you do every day, and which is, you know, we're at the tennis center every day. We hope that we can show that by how clean the facility is and by how welcoming we are. Again, we work with all the school districts. We try to make sure that they get every opportunity to get their kids to play tournaments in town, not have to spend so much money to travel. That's a big deal for us. We have Tomorrow House has their PE class out there. We work with capable kids. I know there's multiple organizations that just want to have fundraiser tournaments out there. If you guys haven't been out there, please come out. Invite your family, invite your friends. It's a great time. We have a great community out there. If you want to be part of it, come on out. We'd love to have you. So, thank you.
We are so incredibly proud of all that you've done out there. You're truly a rock star. You make us shine, and what you've been able to accomplish, it really does speak volumes to you specifically and all that you've been able to do with your team. So thank you so much. We appreciate it, and we would love to take a photo with the commission.
Okay, all right, ready? And 3, 2, 1. And one more. 3, 2, should be right here. 3, 2, 1. Got
All right.
Okay, and finally, we come to the Harlingen Animal Shelter Pet of the Week.
That has been extremely patient.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Our pet of the week from the Harlingen Animal Shelter is Xochi. She is a 4-year-old blue heeler mix. She's also our longest-term resident at the shelter. She was brought in by Animal Control on March 21st, and Her patience and calmness today is a testament to how much she has grown in shelter with us. A little bit of love and care goes a long way. She is exceptionally kind and lovable and playful. She's a little shy at first, but once she opens up to you, she is exceptionally affectionate. Our hours of operation are Tuesday to Saturday from 1 p.m. until 6 p.m. I highly encourage everyone to come out and meet Xochitl and all of our other adoptable cats and dogs. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. If anyone is so inclined, she's ready to go home. All right, moving on.
Item 5, citizen communication. At this time, the public is invited to address the city commission and speak on any matter not specifically listed for public hearing elsewhere in this agenda. Please note that the city commission members may not respond to comments or deliberate on topics addressed.
All right, so at this time, we'll move on to citizen communication. I did recognize that we have several people signed up for citizen communication. I think we have a total of 10, and many of you that signed up are new to the city commission meetings, so I want to welcome you and encourage you to continue to come back. Just to kind of give you an explanation of how it works, if you haven't been here at the City Commission, we have provided 3 minutes for everyone to speak. At the end of the 3 minutes, then your time expires, and then we move on to the next speaker. However, please keep in mind that we are here to speak to you at other times and not just necessarily here at the City Commission meeting. We do have town halls, and I know Commissioner in District 2 is going to be having one soon, and then each of the commissioners are going to be having one in their respective districts as well. So there's ample opportunities to continue the conversation, and also we have your contact information to reach out to you as well. Know that there are regulations, like Melinda said, that we cannot entertain a back and forth during citizen communication, not because we don't care, not because we don't want to respond, but just because the TOMA regulations don't allow for us to respond. That's why you'll see sometimes, folks will come and talk and they'll say things and we want to respond, but we can't, and it's not because, we're ignoring it. It's just that those are the rules that we are governed by, but we can always have conversations after. Remember, public comments are sometimes opinions, but we do have some real important public comment that are here today that I recognize, and so I want to go ahead and start with them first, just out of respect, because I know so many of you are here. So we're going to take these a little bit out of order. And we're going to start with Miss Wandy Cruz. And Wandy has been here before. She knows the rules.
I know the drill. Good evening, Mayor Sepulveda and commissioners. Thank you for your time. My name is Wandy Cruz Velasquez, and I also represent my husband who was not able to be here today. We are at 16438 Los Ranchitos. And I have two things that I want to communicate with you today. Number one, we're here to urge my commissioner, Mr. Rene Perez, and all commissioners to vote yes on a resolution that will be presented to you soon regarding the creation of a Rio Grande Valley Flood Control District. Having lived in Harlingen for 10 years, we have flooded twice in the last 7 years. This is not how we expected to spend our years leading to retirement. We're tired. We have spent countless hours, days, and months, and I'm sure that I have lost a little bit of life longevity in the process, not to mention body ailments and mental anguish, just dealing with displacement and reparations of our home. We need both long-term and short-term solutions now, not just for our situation, but also for everyone who has been affected time and time again. Please consider being on the right side of history, showing your community that you care. And my second thing to you is more personal. Please, please, please fix the canal in Los Ranchitos. Make it deeper, make it wider, do whatever it takes to prevent it from overflooding again. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Velasquez. Okay. Next, we have Milton Beadle Jr. Milton Beadle Jr. Okay. We'll circle back. Is there anybody out there? Jeff Mayer. We can circle back to him. Come on up.
Good afternoon. You'll have to forgive me, this is short notice. I'm new to the area. I have done this before up in Abilene. Prior to living here, lived in Abilene, my wife and I. My name is Jeff Mayer. First and foremost, I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. I'm a husband and a retired Army combat veteran. My wife and I, along with the bank, own a home at 2625 FM 508 that we are not living in currently, obviously. So I don't have a long time here, so I started digging and asking questions to residents and friends that have lived here for a long time. This is obviously not a new issue, correct? This is not a new issue. And by talking with many people, I asked some questions to kind of try to find out some information. Apparently, I believe District 5, the drainage district was formed in 1993. And it took 15 years to do the initial plan, right? The water survey plan, damage, whatever you want to call it. And so there's a long history, it appears, from talking to a lot of my friends and colleagues. There's a long history of this issue that has not been dealt with. Years of maladministration. I don't know if it's inadequate planning or execution. And I won't even go into some other things that I'm talking about. You'll be seeing me. I'll be a fixture of other meetings from now on. But the city has taken in millions and millions of dollars in grants and taxes to fix problems. And again, talking to many, many people, because I've not been here very long, this is an ongoing situation. So, got a couple of questions, suggestions, however you want to term them. But basically, it was brought to my attention last evening that there is no schedule for ditch maintenance posted. That question was asked last evening at a Republican women's meeting. And I feel that that's something that needs to be listed on a public website. Everywhere I'm going with this is public transparency. Everything should be listed for the public to see. When an area is being cleaned and maintained, I was told last night that quarterly ditches are cleaned out. I've lived at my house a little around a year and a half. I've never seen 508 with equipment cleaning out ditches. So that's just my area. But in talking to many other people, they said the same thing. Basically, I know I'm just about out of time, so it's not about blame, it's about accountability. And I will be coming to meetings, and I want to see some accountability from the city, transparency on the website with projects, where they're at, the cost, and scheduled maintenance on ditches, because when we get 20 minutes of rain, the ditch is full and it stays full for days. Ditch maintenance is not being done. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Okay. Did we see if, no? Mr. Beadle, okay, well, that one's not correct. And Ms. Dawn Graves?
Good evening. My name is Dawn Graves, and I live at 1605 East Crockett Avenue, located behind HEB and U-Haul on Morgan Boulevard. I'm here to urge our Commissioner, Mike Metzger, to vote in favor of the resolution to create the regional flood control in my area. And to all the other city commissioners, please allow me to take you on the journey of my neighborhood, of who I am. Our neighborhood watch point, I am our neighborhood watch point of contact. And I implore you to vote yes for coded plan of disaster flooding. I have lived in my home since July the 1st of 1986. We were not a flood zone at that time. In the years past and today, we did not sign up to live on lakeside property. I am here today to speak for many of my neighbors. We fear every time that we have a storm, even just a 6-inch rain. Personally, I have come within centimeters of water coming into my home. However, many of my neighbors have had water in their homes. My next door neighbor at 1601 has had water in their home 3 times and is still cleaning up from this past March. The home at 1606 has had water in their living room several times. 1613 has had water in their living room as well as their garage. They've had to vacate their home to remodel for over a year. Another neighbor of mine, 2 doors down, takes care of his 2 elderly parents that have had water in their living room. Yes, it was a huge expense and a loss of quality time, especially for his elderly parents, and very stressful at all. Please vote yes. We are family to each other in my neighborhood. So please, on behalf of my family, vote in favor to create the Regional Flood Control, RGV, Coalition of Drainage Advocates, CODA. I would like to thank Madam Mayor, along with a personal thank you to Commissioner Ford Kensley for your past visits to my neighborhood. I'm urging Commissioner Mike Metzber to please vote yes on this important and life-changing solution, as well as the esteemed commissioners. I'm also inviting Mike to come and visit the neighborhood that you represent. Thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and please vote yes.
Thank you, Ms. Graves. Peter Rettenhaber, is that correct, sir?
Yes, correct.
Wonderful.
Good evening. My name is Peter Rettenhaber. I live at 21716 Peckham Road in District 5. I want to sincerely thank you to put this on your resolution tonight's agenda. I have experienced severe flooding twice in 2019 and 2025, and I don't even live in a designated flood zone. That should tell us how vulnerable our neighborhoods really are. I fully support the resolution for the conceptual creation of a Rio Grande Valley Flood Control District, and I'm not alone. Many families in Harlingen are going through the same thing, still dealing with the damage and stress from the March flood. I also want to acknowledge Cameron County's recent vote to submit an application for a regional master drainage plan that combines with the city's actions tonight. Gives me hope that these things are finally moving in the right direction. Please continue listening to residents and make sure this resolution gets the full support it deserves. We need coordination, we need infrastructure, and most of all, we need action. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Rettenhaber. So we have another one here. Sir, I would like to, I'm not sure if your address, the 508, is within the city limits, but I would encourage you to.
It's funny you say that, ma'am, because
No, I'm,
the garbage pickup has a hard time figuring out too, but we're right at the edge of the city.
I actually grew up on 508. I know exactly where you are. So I just, and said there's a potential, and so I just encourage you to.
He's good, man, we've checked.
We're good? Okay, fantastic. The reason why I said that is because I know Mr. Kunkel is here, and you have listed as College Station, and usually this is for Harlingen residents, but given what you're talking about, I'd like for you to come in and speak. But I just didn't want someone to say, well, you let the county and not, that was the purpose.
Thank you, Mayor. I
Yes,
will
sir.
be joining the group on agenda item 10F and will be in the capacity of an expert witness, so I'll reserve the rest of my time for that event.
You'll be in 10F?
On the agenda, yes, ma'am, I'll be joining the group that'll be part of the agenda item 10F.
No, I don't think that's, if you more than, we'd love to hear your public comments now, but I don't have you listed as an expert witness, and there's been nothing submitted in that regard.
I'm part of the RGV CODA team that'll be presenting at that point in time. I did want to speak if we were not on the agenda, and will decline the invitation now.
I think this is a question, Mark, of public hearing, right? I think that's what you're driving at.
And
Is
it's
that
not
typically
a-
when we have a public hearing?
Right.
It allows the public to speak on it?
Right.
But-
If it's
But
not a
this is not a
public
public
hearing, then
Okay.
Right, and so we'd love, if you have some comments, we'd
of
love to
course,
hear
of
them.
course.
I know that we're going to have Ms. Garcia present the resolution. Typically, we don't have that, but that has already been that's been planned, and it was requested by the City Commission, but we'd love to hear your comments, Mr. Kunkel.
Of course. Well, thank you very much. Right now, at this time, 4 generations of the Kunkel family are in Harlingen, Texas, with my family doing business here off of Jackson Street, right down the road from the old firehouse since 1992. I think about 1993 or 1994, when I was 7 years old, I remember walking up to my knees in flooded water with pieces of pallets and water going around, and witnessing other hurricane, of course, storm events. I was married the same weekend that Hurricane Dolly hit here in this town as well, so I'm well aware of the flooding issues that occur. I would like to say that the boundaries that occur naturally here with the Arroyo Colorado watershed, as well as the Rio Grande watershed, are not the same kind of boundaries that we will see from a political, county, or municipal entity. And I encourage the acceptance and passage of the resolution for the RGB Coda from a scientific, bipartisan perspective, because science and Mother Nature respect no political boundaries. And I do think at this point in time, the Arroyo Colorado watershed, which I'm sure most of y'all know, extends all the way to Mission, Texas. And water flowing from Mission, Far, McAllen, Mercedes, La Feria, Santa Rosa, all comes through Harlingen. If Harlingen, Texas is the gateway to the Bahia Laguna Madre as a drainage potential, Harlingen, Texas holds the keys with the Arroyo Colorado being the main passageway of that water. So I want to encourage any kind of infrastructure, projects, or organizations that'll help us process and get the water out as soon as possible. And with that, I'll stop.
Thank you. And I don't have anyone signed up in regards to flooding and drainage problems. We're going to move on to the other citizen communication. But I do want to encourage you you're welcome to stay for the remainder. I am going to, out of respect for everybody that's here, going to move up the item, so that way you're not waiting until the end of the agenda, so you're welcome to stick around. We do have a few other citizen communication, and just as I mentioned before, these are public comments, and there's no back and forth with that. And so we will start now with Ms. Dawn Ray Leonard.
Evening. I consider the Valley International Airport to be the jewel of Harlingen. It brings friends and family together safely and efficiently. It generates revenue. It's a welcoming facility and meticulously managed. The primary consideration, the essence of aviation, is safety. This includes the safety of passengers, crew, ground crews, and of course the aircraft. Safety is paramount in every aspect of aviation. You cannot fudge on it, and you cannot avoid it. Working on the aviation side of the house in the Navy, we train, and train some more, all with safety first in mind. Safety first, everything else is second. This includes accurate and verifiable training documentation for auditing of aircraft maintenance logbooks, flight logbooks, training jackets, and the like. I recall a poster on the wall in our ordinance shop that read, "Safety records don't happen by accident." That meant that strong safety performance reflected in accurate and thorough record keeping is not by chance, but rather a result of deliberate and consistent documentation. Training documentation is crucial to all NTSB and FAA accident and incident investigations. The FAA investigated, and its report cited the fire department for violations related to falsification and alteration of training records, applications, and training certifications as per federal regs. This malfeasance by the fire department compromise the airport's funding and public confidence and safety at risk. The airport looks to terminate the agreement with the City of Harlingen, which provides for firefighting services. Ladies and gentlemen, understand the FAA threatened to shut down our airport. A shutdown would be catastrophic for our economy, our jobs, transportation, and commerce. The city put our airport in jeopardy, and we are on the FAA's radar. Currently, the Cameron County DA's office is reviewing the FAA's report. I look forward to that investigation. Mayor, it's time for some accountability and transparency. To date, there have been no consequences. Heads should be rolling down 18 right. According to the City of Harlingen Charter, Section 11A, the city manager shall appoint, and when he deems necessary for the good of the city, suspend or remove at will any city employee or appointed officers provided for by this charter. I urge the airport board to sign their resolution. Do it for the well-being and the safety of our community for now and years to come. The people deserve a safe travel experience and accountability from City Hall. And I am looking into your oversight committee that never meets to provide oversight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Leonard. And for those that are new to our city commission meeting, I just want to remind you that citizen communication is just that. It's citizen communication. Oftentimes, opinions does not mean that it is factual, doesn't mean that it's true, it doesn't mean that it's false, it just means it's a person's individual opinion. Having said that, moving on to Evan Mann.
Good evening, City Council. As you know, my name is Evan Mann, President of the Harlingen Professional Firefighters Association, and I'm here for facts. I'm here to address the Commission on the issue of the Valley International Airport's administration's attempt to illegally privatize firefighting services of the airport through the Airport Executive Board. I have provided a copy of the letter from our attorney through the Texas State Association of Firefighters, which was emailed to the city attorney. There should be a copy floating around, explaining why privatization of the ARF program is illegal. It also goes on to state that if the board votes to contract out firefighting services and the city council fails to intervene to halt that illegal action, we will have no choice but to zealously pursue all legal avenues, including filing suit against the city, which is something we don't want to do. And if we do so, I'm confident that we would win that. However, we don't want to get to this point, and we shouldn't have to get to this point, and I'm asking you not to put us in that position. It's my understanding through personal conversations through many of y'all that most everyone in front of me today does not agree with privatization of the airport firefighting services. And yet airport administration continues to place this issue on the airport's board agenda in complete disregard. The reputation and integrity of the Harlingen Fire Department has been slandered and questioned in efforts to push this agenda. And I'm here today to defend our program and point out that recent investigations by the FAA, which were self-reported by the airport board, administration, ruled that the documentation discrepancy that was in question was an isolated event and not systemic to our training program. In fact, as of today, I'm extremely proud to say that our ARF program has achieved a perfect score 5 years in a row during our extensive FAA annual inspections. And this is a prime example how we are being misrepresented to the public eye for personal agenda. 5 years in a row, we've had a perfect score, and that's not being talked about. It's a big deal to have an FAA inspection come down. We have to respond to a simulated alert. We have to be there in a certain amount of time. In 3 minutes, we have to be at the right place at the right time, showing water, and communicate effectively through the Harlingen Air Traffic Control Tower. It's a lot of training. We go through a lot of training to get where we need to be. I ask each of y'all today to reach out to the airport board member you appointed and explain to them why they cannot legally privatize the ARF program, and that you have the highest confidence in regard for the Harlingen Fire Department. And please feel free to refer them to me. I'm happy to answer any questions and to clean up any misconception that's been going around. I am also ARF certified and an alternate for the ARF program. And if your appointee does not have the best interests of the city, I ask you to maybe reconsider appointing someone who will work with the city. We are part of the city, and we're all needing to work together. And I thank you for your time, and I appreciate all that y'all do. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Reyes? He got right at the buzzer, I wonder. That's usually your job.
Raymond Reyes, 706 Nantucket Drive. As usual, I just want to come out, lay it out. You know, a lot of y'all know me. I've been here a long time, since 76. I've seen floods, seen all kinds of debris. You know, it comes and goes. Mother Nature does what she does. She don't respect anything. She just reminds us who's actually in charge. But it's an opportunity for us to capitalize and learn from that particular disaster and maximize our efforts to ensure that we can do the best we can to address and resolve the issue. I know I've called sometimes when I see debris myself in some of the drainage spots, when the canals have too much overgrowth. Believe me, I've called Gabe, I've called Josh, I've called Oscar, I've called the commissioners. I mean, you know, when I'm not with my grandkids, I get bored, so I do all kinds of other things. One thing I will say, a lot of people talk about facts and fiction. I deal in facts, but I hear a lot of fiction. So when I do hear things, I initiate my own inquiries. I've been very fortunate that I can communicate with the right people. Thanks to my father, he laid a solid groundwork of places I can reach out to. So if there's things going on, we need to have oversight. It's not a question of, we need to possibly look into that. We need to look into it and stuff. I'm a businessman. When I hear things from my staff or from other businesses, I'm on the ball. That's the only reason I've been able to survive and surpass and do what I do and keep my haters happy so they can keep on hating on me. I keep progressing. People don't like that. But as elected officials, you need to make sure you're on top and represent the communities correctly and do what you can to prevent, to the best of your ability. I saw a video posted when they were doing the sandbags. Somebody posted that they have a machine or whatever the case is, that the sandbags were only halfway full. That's not good. I know in the military that would never fly. I'd be running laps with a 50-pound pack for at least 10 miles. So we need to make sure when something like that is being distributed, for example, it needs to be distributed correctly. Somebody needs to be there and making sure that that machine is working correctly. And that's just one example of many. And that's, y'all's job to keep in communication with the departments, because people reach out to me and then I reach out to you guys, or I put it on the record here. So didn't beat the buzzer this time, but I think I got through it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Robert Leftwich?
Robert Leftwich, 909 East Parkwood. I just wanted to say that after hearing the CAFR report that was on the agenda a couple weeks ago, or a couple meetings ago, it's even more heartbreaking to understand that the city has not helped the flood victims as much as they could. We still don't have any hotel vouchers. We just heard a gentleman here tonight saying he's displaced out of his home. I've talked to other people who are living in apartments. And after looking at the CAFR myself, it looks like the city's catastrophic relief fund is $888,000, yet not 1 cent of this 100-year flood event is being spent to help people with hotel vouchers, cleaning supplies, food, rebates for even the towing service, where other cities were helping out. Some other things on the audit report said that the tax increase was $1.2 million, but the fund balance increased $6.5 million. We're not a poor city. Mayor, you know that because you like to travel a lot. I've looked at some of your travel reports. Just in 2025, in December or in January, you spent $800 a night at a DC hotel. We talked about that last time. Now I've gotten a report that you've just spent $700 for one night in Austin. My goodness, there's a La Quinta Inn about 2 blocks from the Capitol. I think you can get in there for about $100. You know, it's sad that you can help yourself, but y'all can't help the citizens of the community. You know, we talked about the $6.5 million increase in the fund balance. Well, guess what? Valley Vista Mall still owes last year's taxes at $323,000. They owe $37,000 in penalties and interest. And Mayor, City Manager, please take note here. You got the city budget for fiscal year 2025 has a $5,000 budget for travel for the mayor and each commissioner. The mayor in 6 months has exceeded that budget by $8,500. You need to submit a budget amendment to cover the excess wasteful travel that the mayor has been participating in at $800. And she's traveled and spent $400 a night over 13 times. She spent $300 a night over 14 times just in your first term, Mayor. That's outrageous. And we can't get any help for flood victims when you've got all this money that just you take in. This $1.2 million doesn't even include the $2.5 million y'all raised last year. And yeah, what happened to that's the lowest rate in 25 years. Let's talk about the city's response. You know, I talked about the TERS money. The TERS money, people may not realize there's 3 TERS zones in the city of Harlingen. This money can be used for drainage facilities and flood. There's $4.7 million in that fund. $7 million spent on parks.
All right, and I believe that concludes our citizen communication. Okay.
We'll move on to item 6, approval of minutes, regular meeting of February 5th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Okay, wait, before we, oh, sorry, go ahead. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Go ahead, Melinda.
Item 7, consent agenda. No discussion is anticipated on any of the items in this section because they are routine business, were included in the budget adoption process, or have been previously discussed as a staff report or discussion item. These items will be considered collectively by a single vote unless a commission member requests an item be removed from the consent agenda.
We are going to remove O and P from the consent
And D.
and D like dog.
Yes.
Okay, anything else,
You said
gentlemen?
D?
D is in dog, yeah.
Okay.
N, real quick.
N? Okay. Anything else? Is there a motion to approve all items with the exception of D, N, O, and P?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item D, consideration and possible action to approve a request from the Harlingen Consolidated Independent School District to close the following streets for the Harlingen CISD's graduation ceremonies Friday, May 23rd and Saturday, May 24th, 2025, from 5:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. or until the ceremonies have ended.
It's just because it's HISD and I'm just gonna abstain.
Okay, can I get a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Let the record reflect that Commissioner Bettis abstained from the vote.
Item N, consideration and possible action to approve the installation of speed humps in the following locations. This item was requested by Commissioner Frank Morales and Commissioner Rini Perez.
Okay. Can we see if is there any additions?
No, just big picture conversation real quick. I know that for a while, since at least I've been elected for the past 2 years, we've been putting in a number of speed humps through the city. I would like this commission to consider allowing staff to look at the potential of, in certain neighborhoods, just lowering the speed limit, because most of the time, or most of the neighborhoods is 30 miles per hour. Like in my street, like East Buchanan, right behind my house, that's way too fast to be going. I think persons that drive the 30 miles per hour look like they're speeding when they are in fact not, because they are following the speed limit for that area. Now, there's certain streets, let's say like 13th Street, that wouldn't make sense. West Buchanan, that wouldn't make sense, but let's say West Pierce and the other streets may just make sense. So all I ask is, I make a motion to approve this, but to ask staff to look at potentially lowering the speed limits in certain neighborhoods that they feel are relevant.
I agree with that.
I think it's a fantastic idea, and potentially each of the commissioners can present which areas, since y'all are most familiar with your districts, just to be more efficient.
And I think what I'd like to do is, there's a process we have to go through to lower the speed limit.
Yes.
And I'd like to get the engineer to maybe make a presentation about that later, just so that we're all familiar with what that process is.
Correct.
Okay.
That works.
I have a question on these streets. Have they been approved by the police department and city engineering?
There to do the
To
assessment.
close? Yes.
Okay, so the city people have already
So
looked
about the
at
speed
this?
humps,
Yeah.
not the closure.
No, yeah, no.
Are you talking about the speed humps?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're the assessments,
Okay.
right, and so then they'll make sure that they need them, and if they do, then
sorry.
they'll be
misunderstood.
installed, and if they don't meet that threshold, then they'll respond back to whomever asked for them to be
Just
put on.
clarifying for the people.
Yes,
And before we move on, I would like to add one,
okay.
okay? And this is at the 300/400 block of Louisiana. And I've seen a video where a car almost went into somebody's house.
Didn't
So-
you do this one already?
It's never been addressed properly, so we'll do it again.
I'll make a motion to approve item N with the addition from Commissioner Morales.
Second by Commissioner Kinsley. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item O, consideration and possible action to authorize the city manager to purchase equipment utilizing general funds, Public Works.
Before you make a presentation, Chris, in your packet, there is a list of equipment that we're asking for the city to purchase. This is equipment that was either recommended because of the flooding event that we had, or in some cases to order, for instance, some of the high-profile vehicles to have additional equipment that we can use for rescues when we have a flood event like we did recently. Now, one of the things I wanted to point out is that this is just for equipment. If this list is approved in its entirety, we'll have to come back later and ask for 4 additional staff people, 2 for the Vector truck, and 1 each for the, is that for the dump trucks?
For the sweeper.
Sweepers, 1 each for the sweeper. And that number is $278,000 for all 4 positions. So we'll have to come back for that at a later date. The funding that's going to be used to purchase this particular set of equipment that's being presented tonight is a little over $4 million, will come from the Vehicle Replacement Fund. That will not be coming out of the general fund balance. It's a separate fund that we had established for the purchase of equipment, and I believe the total balance on that account is $6.1 million. So we have sufficient to buy the $4 million we are requesting. That's all I had. And Chris, did you want to make a presentation?
I don't,
Good
do we need the?
I just wanted to add something. We needed to get those extender hoses, right? And that's $4,300, so, and it would go for the pumps that we're buying.
And just to reiterate that these dollars have to be used for equipment,
Yes, equipment.
Correct.
right? So it can't be used for anything else
Correct.
aside from what it is that we're using it for. Okay.
The total that he's asking for the extenders, will that cover the entire cost for the pumps that we're buying, or are we going to need?
It's additional discharging hoses that we can place on 2 additional 8-inch pumps.
Okay, but is it 4,300 going to be enough?
Yes, it is.
I got the number from Chris.
It is.
So whatever the number is, then we can just say to purchase those additional hoses.
And just for the public that may be watching and for those that are here, what is this equipment going to help for your department?
So the pumps, right? Right now, we have 4 pumps that we used, all of them during the March floods, right? If we do get more pumps, this will help alleviate some of the flooding that happened in other areas where we couldn't put pumps. Even though we did receive assistance from other municipalities, that was great. But I think we need to be appreciative of the help, right? But we need to be self-sustained as well to make sure that we have the right equipment to make sure that we respond appropriately and timely to not have those issues.
Okay. And I think it's easier for you to be proactive as well, because I know when we thought we were getting this rain event, you were ensuring that pumps were being placed just in case, and we were lucky that we didn't need them, but they were ready to go and that was in your district, right?
Correct. Spanish and secluded acres have some of the worst flooding in the city. So Chris helped me by putting 2 6-inch pumps, one on each canal. That's what the 8-inch pumps are going to go towards.
Right. And so we can do that, and, obviously those are mitigation efforts and while we're improving.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Like you mentioned, Mayor, we're trying to be proactive.
Absolutely. Okay. Any questions from the commission?
How long would it take to get some of these vehicles, Chris?
So I've made contact with several vendors already, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to secure those vehicles that are on the ground already. And those vehicles that are not on the ground, they're promising me anywhere between 4 to 7 weeks.
Okay.
Yes, because right now, a lot of this equipment can take in anywhere between 12 to 18 months. But because of those relationships that we have with some of the vendors, they can make those guarantees.
Are we going to be paying a premium on these? Thanks to the increase in tariffs and so on down the line?
And so that's another thing that I'm trying to avoid. There's a lot of vendors that are telling me that after June 1st, we are going to get hit with a 25% on the price. And so I'm trying to secure all that right now. If you all approve this, tomorrow I will have those conversations, and more than likely I will commit to those purchases so that they can stay at that price. Because if we wait till after June 1st, we're going to get hit with a 25%.
So you'll prioritize that and then circle back with Gabe so that way he informs us that it's been done?
Absolutely.
And in summation for the public, what are we buying?
So we are buying pumps. We are buying some of the equipment that has been, we should have replaced a long time ago within Public Works. For example, our motor graders, right? We are purchasing 2 sweepers, and this conversation has been brought up, especially by Commissioner Morales, right, where we should have more sweepers. Well, we're going to have 4 sweepers where we can place out at least 1 in each district. Therefore, we're going to be more proactive, right, when it comes to cleaning all those curbs, but along the inlets as well, right? And so the Vector, we have 2 Vectors right now. One of them is a little bit older. The other one is fairly newer, but now we're going to have 3. You know, a city this size should have anywhere between 4, maybe even 5, right? And so we're getting to the situation where we're getting equipment to be proactive, right? And so we're getting dump trucks. We're getting a couple of high-profile vehicles. And so that's going to help out in the event that we do need to initiate a evacuation or rescue efforts. We're going to be able to go out there without having those situations where we can't get to them.
And for the benefit of the public, once again, what's a Vector truck?
A Vector truck, it's a piece of equipment that can suck up a whole bunch of water, right? But it also helps us with that same piece of equipment to be able to flush those inlets that whenever a lot of debris gets stuck in there, we go in there with a Vector truck, and so we flush everything, we clean it up, and so again, we're being proactive so those inlets are not clogged up once an event like the one we faced in March helps alleviate some of the flooding.
And these vehicles will be gasoline or diesel?
It's a combination of both.
Can you also explain the long reach excavator, so that way people know what that does?
Yes, so that long reach excavator, we have been having to rent that piece of equipment as long as I've been here, right? And so every year we get a budget amount. And so once we run out of that budget amount, then we can't rent a long reach excavator. That piece of equipment is very crucial because that piece of equipment helps us do the maintaining of our ditches. We do have a regular schedule where we maintain all of the ditches that are part of the city. But on top of that, we do also maintain some of the ditches that do not belong to the city. And so we are doing that year round. I know that we've had this conversation where hurricane season is not really, just from June to November. We treat hurricane season all year long, right? Because we need to stay proactive. If we don't, then we face inlets that are clogged up, that have not been cleaned out. We face ditches that, have overgrown trees and grass. We have actually done a couple of maintenance on a couple of ditches that do not belong to us, that have trees that are 30, 40 feet high. And so we are very proactive when it comes to that.
Since you brought that up, can you explain it? I know it takes a little bit of time, but can you explain that? Because I know a lot of individuals think that if there's a ditch inside the city that automatically belongs to us, then it's our responsibility to maintain it. But I know a lot of people don't understand that there's different entities that they belong to. And can you give us a little bit more detail on that?
Absolutely, yes. So we have Drainage District number 5, Drainage District number 6, Irrigation District number 1, and Irrigation District number 2. We have 9 miles of ditches that belong to the city, and we maintain that year round. Now, on top of that, like say for instance, the Drainage District number 6, I believe they have a little bit over 15 miles. Drainage District number 5 has a fair number close to that. And then the 2 irrigation districts don't have as big of as coverage. But, you're right. There's a lot of ditches that are within the city of Harlingen. And we get calls, right, saying, hey, you guys haven't maintained this ditch. I can tell you that there are some ditches that we do maintain through an MOU or an interlocal that we create with these drainage districts. And if we don't, we cannot touch them because we just don't have that MOU or interlocal, then we reach out to those drainage districts or the irrigation districts to make sure that they can, address some of those issues that they have.
Chris, and TxDOT also has ditches within the city. Those were some of the worst maintained ditches that we had to clean. When you talked about those 30-foot trees that we had to remove, that were from some of those ditches.
You're absolutely right, sir.
And we're also getting a couple of deuce and a halves.
Yeah, that's correct.
So if we run short on drivers, maybe some of the former military men up here can help drive those.
Sign me up.
Hey, I was certified many years and many pounds ago, so I can do it.
Did you say pounds ago?
Many years and many pounds ago.
I'll make a motion to approve item O
Second.
with the amendment of those hoses.
Absolutely, sir.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. Item P, consideration and possible action to authorize the city manager to purchase equipment utilizing the enterprise fund, Public Works.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to take some things out of order, Melinda.
Okay.
So I know that we've got a public hearing and we have folks here for a public hearing, so we're going to do this one quickly first, and then we'll circle back around. But we're going to do item 9B. This is a public hearing for a rezoning request for residential single-family district to a planned development district to allow 32-foot wide paved streets with 50 feet of right-of-way and smaller lots for 4, 8, 18, 22, 25, 26, 42, 53, 57 for a 140-lot single-family residential development on a property bearing a legal description of the west 19.5500 acres and the north 9.5500 acres of Block 76 in the Lansing Hills subdivision located at the south west corner of Lipscomb Avenue and West New Hampshire Street. And this is for Ricardo Garcia, care of Affordable Homes of South Texas. At this time, we'll open the public hearing. And I do believe we have someone signed up, and that is Mr. Calvillo.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Bobby Calvillo. I'm honored to be the CEO of Affordable Homes in South Texas. Joining me is Richard Garcia, who works with us as well. Just wanted to provide a quick update on the first subdivision we'll be doing in Harlingen. We've been around for almost 50 years now. I've been with the organization almost 30. We've done about 15 developments that are very similar to what we're going to be doing here in Harlingen. 140 lots that will be providing homeownership opportunities to low to moderate income families that may or may not otherwise have been able to own a home. And we all know how important homeownership is for not only the families that are living there, but for the community itself. So we urge you to allow us to continue to move forward in this development. This is the first of a couple of steps we need to get through, but this rezoning request is step one. Happy to answer any questions.
What size houses, more or less, and the approximate cost?
So the size of the home depends on what the family is looking for, but in previous developments, we've done anywhere from 1,100 square feet living area to 1,800, just depending on what the family needs. So as an example, if they have 4 children, 5 children, they're going to need a larger home than others might. As far as cost goes, we're talking anywhere around 100 to 150, again, depending on square footage. We are the builder. We're the developer, the builder, and the mortgage company. So we can control cost to a certain extent.
And Mr. Calvillo was here before us previously, and this is an opportunity for individuals in our community to have, as you mentioned, right, a opportunity at home ownership. These are not tax credit properties. These are not any assistance through any type of government agency. This is an opportunity for actual home ownership. And we haven't heard $150,000 homes in the city of Harlingen or anywhere in the region, or even $200,000 new homes. And these are really nice garages, I believe.
Garage,
and
brick veneer.
Brick veneer. These are really quality. They really have an opportunity to choose certain things, which is nice. And I do want to commend you, Mr. Calvillo, for really thinking about our community. I know you've assisted in some of the flood victims that we've had here in our community, and I've reached out to each of the commissioners and provided opportunities as much as we can, but there has been opportunity for some, and that is through your assistance in constantly looking to help these people that are in a vulnerable position. So I commend you for all that you're doing and welcome you to Harlingen clearly. So thank you. Is there any other questions for Mr. Calvillo?
Thank you for all the work you do. You all do, your organization.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to echo those sentiments. Thank you for everything you've done for the residents that needed it most.
I'll make a motion to accept.
There's a public hearing.
It's a public hearing. It's a public
Oh, sorry.
It's okay, go ahead.
I got jumpy.
Thank you, Mr. Calvillo. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop on over to item 10B, which is the companion on the ordinance, consideration and possible action to approve an ordinance on first reading for a request to rezone from residential single-family district to a planned development district to allow 32-foot wide paved streets with 50 feet of right-of-way and smaller lots of 4, 8, 18, 22, 25, 26, 42, 53, 57 for a 140 single-family residential development on a property bearing a legal description on the west 19.5 acres and the north 9.5500 acres of Block 76 at the Lansing Hills subdivision located at the southwest corner of Lipscomb Avenue and West New Hampshire Street. Mark?
An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Harlingen, rezoning from residential single-family R1 district to planned development district. to allow a 30-foot wide paved street with 50 feet of right-of-way and smaller lot sizes for lots 4, 8, 18, 22, 25, 26, 42, 53, and 57 for a 140-lot single-family development on a property bearing a legal description of the west 19.5500 acres and the north 9.5500 acres of Block 76, Lonsea Hill Subdivision, located at the southwest corner of Lipscomb Avenue and West New Hampshire Street, providing for publication and ordaining other matters related to the foregoing.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Calvillo. All right, and now I am going to hop on over to item 10F, consideration and possible action to approve a resolution supporting the conceptual creation of the Rio Grande Valley Flood Control District. This item was requested by Commissioner Rena Bettis and the Mayor Pro Tem Ford Kinsley.
If I may start, on Monday, we have a meeting with drainage districts, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
And it's Drainage District number 5 and 6.
okay. So it seems to me that we're putting the cart before the horse, and we should meet with the drainage districts on Monday, table this, and then bring this back, because we need to hear what they have to say.
I would like to hear what Mrs. Garcia has to say. I know she sent us an email and had a bunch of great references. I'm not opposed to what you're saying, Commissioner. I just want to make sure I hear what they have to say so that if we do end up tabling this and having that meeting, when we go through that meeting with DD5 and DD6, we have the factual basis to ask the right questions.
Fair enough.
All right, Ms. Garcia?
I don't know how to work this thing.
I'm sure we can get you
I
some
just
help.
I figured it out right away. Here we go. First of all, thank you guys for having us tonight. I'm here as a representative of the Rio Grande Valley Coalition of Drainage Advocates, and something that we are advocating for at this time is for a regional watershed approach to our flooding issues, which we have named the RGV Flood Control District, but in reality, it could be named the Norma Sepulveda Flood Control District, who knows? But basically taking a regional watershed approach to our flooding issues. So who are we, the RGV Coalition of Drainage Advocates? We're a civilian advocacy group. We are repeated flood victims, business owners who've been flooded multiple times. We are banding together because we are tired of the flooding and tired of dealing with the repeated flooding in the area. So we do have our mission statement, which is to educate, engage, and advocate for adequate drainage to reduce flooding, with a focus on addressing issues related to water management and flood mitigation, with emphasis on community well-being and environmental stewardship. So I know we have a lot of flood victims here. If y'all want to stand up, just to say this is who is here today. Yes, absolutely. You know, we are also flood victims, so we feel right along with you. Again, we're comprised of repeat flood victims, business owners from across the RGV, scientists and experts in the field. I want to say our experts and scientists are here on a volunteer basis. There's no conflict of interest here. This is a 100% volunteer organization. But as we have started banding together and getting a little bit larger, we are working on filing paperwork to become a 501c4, which is a nonprofit. So hopefully next time we meet with you guys, we will have that distinction as well. So just a brief, some experts and scientists that we have relied on in coming up with this plan. First, we have Jaime Flores, who's a professional geologist. He couldn't be here with us tonight because he's monitoring groundwater well repairs for the South Region Water Authority. But he also, one of the articles that I sent you, he was co-author of the update to the Arroyo, Colorado Watershed Protection Plan. Then we also have Juan V. Garcia, J.V. Garcia. He's a local civil engineer, graduate from Texas A&M University, and he's a former Region 9 director for the Texas Floodplain Management Association. So he is also a CFM as well. Then we also have Gerald Garrett, a master's degree in agriculture, environmental science, and sustainability, and he's a research associate for environmental science and conservative biology. Mr. Gregory Kunkel, who you heard from earlier, he is a natural resources expert, certified through Texas A&M in watershed management and remote sensing and wetland delineation. Then we have Peter Rettenhaber, who's a master electrical engineer. And then we also have a housing market analyst, Minerva Simpson, who works with us on FEMA flood maps and insurance and funding for homes and how that is affecting, how flooding is affecting homes and sales and things of that nature. So why is flood mitigation so important? One of the things we hear often after these flooding is, oh, this was a freak storm. This was a 100-year storm. This isn't going to happen again. This will never happen again. And as you heard from many people, this has happened to them multiple times within the past few years. And when we look at the 5th National Climate Assessment Report and Analysis, which was funded by the U.S. government, you can see that in 2020, events per year, our area is expected to get around the 1 to 5 range. And in the next 20, up to 2050, we're definitely in the 10+ range, flooding events per year. So we are in a high flood zone area. How does that translate to dollars? The annual average loss from all types of flooding in 2020 for our area was already at the highest at $20 million. And in 2050, it is expected to change increase by up to 20%. So this is an issue that is just going to keep coming up over and over and over again. So this is where the RGV CODA has adopted some Texas legislative initiatives to be discussed at the 89th and 90th legislative sessions. We're going to advocate for prioritization of RGV in disbursement of the flood infrastructure funds, providing educational opportunities to the public regarding current drainage systems in place, dispersing information as it relates to flood infrastructure, connecting congressional leaders with the experts, especially here in the Valley, who live here, who know what's going on, who have worked hands-on in this area, and can really help guide some of this legislature, and as well as to promote the creation of the flood control district, which is what we're here to talk about specifically tonight. So how can a watershed approach help the city of Harlingen? This is an entity that can prioritize funding and construction of flood mitigation using the natural watershed boundaries. It's a geographic focus versus a man-made boundary focus. So it would encompass the existing watersheds here in the RGV, and the watersheds here in the RGV are actually comprised within the 3 counties of Hidalgo, Cameron, and Willacy County. So all 3 of these areas would be encompassed in this. It would consolidate and expand existing drainage districts with input from respective county leaders, municipalities, and port authorities, and collaboration with all municipal water sources, water supply systems to assist with conservation efforts. So how do watersheds work? This is the briefest, this is the easiest schematic I could find on this, where it's literally like turning on a faucet. A watershed starts up at the top, if we can imagine in the west, McAllen, Mission, in that area, and as it flows south, east in our situation, over to the Gulf to exit out. And the difficult part of this, if we look at the faucets, if at any one point a faucet is turned off, that's where we have that flooding. And it just is not getting pushed to the next area. We look at our watershed maps here in the Valley. There are 2 separate watersheds that have been studied mostly, the North and Central Watershed Districts, and then the Arroyo Colorado. So the North and Central Watershed Districts, this was in the information that I had sent you, mostly comprised in the Hidalgo and Willacy County. It does dip into Cameron County as well, but I think what's even more interesting for Harlingen in general is if you look at the main drain system, those watersheds flood right out into the Arroyo Colorado, and that's where it sends. So even though it's not part of that watershed, they are dumping into the Arroyo Colorado and dumping into that drainage system. Here we have the Arroyo Colorado watershed, which is in yellow. And again, this one is probably the most important to the city of Harlingen because the Arroyo runs right through our city. And again, the watershed map of the Arroyo Colorado, where Harlingen Waterworks does have a permitted outfall into the Arroyo there. So in the North and Central Watershed Districts, these are the drainage districts and irrigation districts that encompass just that area. There are, as you can see, multiple drainage districts that would all have to collaborate with each other in order to move the water to a watershed. But the way the drainage districts work is they're within a man-made boundary. And so when they receive their monies, they work within this man-made boundary to be able to provide flood relief in that boundary only. This was created in 2020, so there's also another Cameron County Drainage District 6 that's not included in this list. And then we have the Arroyo Colorado watershed districts, and this is in Cameron County specifically. And I think, here we go. Here are our Cameron County Drainage Districts right here. There are 5 Cameron County Drainage Districts that are set to cover the entirety of Cameron County. And as you can see, there are also some white areas here. This is a challenging concept, but there's actually a Cameron County Drainage District. It is unfunded. So the areas in white essentially are not taxed, and they do not have monies to fund this in any way at this time. So they are under the protection of a drainage district, but that drainage district has not done any projects or any sort of flood mitigation. So recently we heard that Drainage District 6 received over $40 million, which is amazing. That area is a very hard-hit area when it comes to flooding. And unfortunately, that money will stay in that blue area, whereas we are right next to it, the yellow area, which is Drainage District 5. And as we get a closer look into Harlingen, again, those areas, the white areas, which fall under an untaxed drainage entity at this point. You have your downtown, your city hall falls in there. And so there's no drainage district protections at this time for these areas.
Excuse me, on that map, you have 34 foot, 24 foot. Is that the elevation?
On this map?
No.
This map?
Yes.
Oh. I'm not 100% sure, so this was taken from the update from the Arroyo Colorado. I would guess, maybe. So this is definitely.
You ever see a topo map of this area?
Absolutely. So what
There
I
are
was,
no lines.
what I was gonna say is, this is definitely a tricky situation because we do live in a flat area, and we'll discuss that in a moment as well.
I would say yes, and you can see there's a 24-foot where the pond is, sorry to interrupt. But
That's okay.
In the purple where you see the blue pond, this is 24 feet.
Right.
So, yeah, and this is just taken from, this is a map taken directly from the Cameron County flood maps.
Mr. Garcia, would you like to join Ms. Garcia at the podium?
He's the technical expert here.
The answer to your question is yes. That appears to be the elevation, and you can see that it drops when it gets closer to a body of water to 24. So, please see.
Any other questions about the map? So what are some benefits of a watershed approach? Of course, we can address the root causes of flooding for the region. We can reduce flood risk, save money, protecting lives and property, leverage funding for the entire region, assessing the risk across multiple communities. I want to go back to the drainage district map for a second, especially in Cameron County. We hear a lot of things that we are anti-drainage district. We are not. We actually want them to succeed, because if they succeeded, we would not be flooding. Unfortunately, something that we hear time and time again is that they are underfunded and understaffed, and that's not necessarily their fault. But as if they could collectively bargain as a regional area, they would be able to get more funding for the area, state, federal funding as well, which is something that the Harris County Flood Control District has done. So this is an example of a watershed approach in Texas. This one actually manages 23 separate watersheds, which is less than what we have in the valley. I mean, more than what we have in the valley, sorry. It's located similarly to us in the Houston area, relatively flat land with high rainfalls and a history of flooding. It employs about 350 people, and it implements home buyout programs for repeatedly hit areas. It maintains the drainage infrastructure. You had a gentleman come up here earlier who was talking about how he feels like his drainage district has fully grown trees in the ditches. These are issues that we see across Cameron County, where the basic maintenance is not being completed. Is it a funding issue? Is it a manpower issue? We're not sure. We just know that they're not getting done. And this would also, this flood control district in particular uses regional stormwater detention basins, which combined can store billions of gallons of water. So some local support that we've had so far for this. We were super ecstatic yesterday when Cameron County, the judge, Eddie Trevino, posted this yesterday on his Facebook, where he was talking about a crucial step forward in addressing our region's drainage infrastructure. A multi-jurisdictional approach is essential, which shared watersheds in Cameron, Hidalgo, and Willacy County. So this is a great step in the county acknowledging that this would also benefit the county in general. And then we also have some of our members of our organization have met with the senator's office, Senator Adam Hinojosa, who's the area, senator for our area, who is also on board at taking a regional approach in long-standing flooding issues. So this is why we're standing before you today. When our representatives met with the senator, we asked, as citizens, what can we do? We can public comment till we're blue in the face, but we want some real action. So what can we do? And he suggested we take a two-prong approach. So fostering community support, which we've done with an online petition, as well as in-person engagement as we continue, and we plan to continue with those. And then also he recommended gaining local government support. So that is why we are here before you today. So as we gain these resolutions, we are hopeful that we can present them to him as a support that these city entities, municipalities, the county are in favor of a regional watershed approach to our flooding issues. So the resolution in front of you today is definitely a high impact. It will have a lot of impact, but it is a low legal commitment. If you read the wording of it, I think it was worded so well to the point where it gives you outs at every chance. If it's open to discussions. The first one says, we're recognizing need for a regional solution because no one can do it by themselves. You're supporting the creation of this as a potential framework. No one's gonna lock you in and say, Harlingen voted on this, so they mean they really want this. You're saying this is a potential possible
Solution.
yeah, solution for this. It also supports an introduction of a regional solution while reserving the right to withdraw. So the city of Harlingen, again, is not locked in any legal way. You guys can always withdraw if you find out that it is not appropriate for you. And your floodplain manager will be your point of contact for non-binding discussions. Your floodplain manager can be involved in these discussions, and again, non-binding, non-committal, but just to gain more information. Did you want-
Yeah. Who elects or votes or hires a floodplain manager?
So for you, it's within your city. I believe it's your city engineer or, yeah.
Raise your hand.
There he is.
Yeah, come on up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the city, every municipality has to have a CFM, right, a certified floodplain manager?
And Mr. Vargas is going to wait until he approaches the mic.
Sorry. Luis Vargas, city engineer and also floodplain manager for the city. You have to be a CFM, so same as JV, certified floodplain manager. As I was saying, every municipality has to have one in the staff, right? So in the city, we have 3 CFMs. I am the designated floodplain manager for the city.
Thank you.
And a good one, too.
Yeah.
Excellent stuff.
So again, I know we have attorneys on the commission and the mayor, so I know that, oftentimes when you're looking at wording, it is, how is this worded, and is this getting Harlingen into a bind? I think the way that the commissioners wrote this was very, very perfect in the sense that it is non-committal, but recognizing that what we are doing, we have been doing, may not be the best approach, where we should possibly look into a watershed approach to this. So just thank yous to Commissioner Rini Perez and Ford Kinsley for authoring this resolution and inviting us to speak today. I know you mentioned earlier this is something you don't normally do, so we definitely appreciate that. And then, of course, to the mayor and the rest of the commissioners for thoughtfully thinking about what we're presenting today. And to continue by putting Harlingen drainage first. We hear about you guys voting on, we just heard about Public Works getting new, spending millions of dollars on new equipment. And unfortunately, that's the sad reality we're in, right? And so hopefully one day we will come to meetings and it won't be about purchasing to have a reactive approach, but instead doing a proactive approach to
Gabe?
flooding. So,
Gabe, can you extend to this group a formal invitation to Monday's meeting?
Yes,
Before we do that, is that complete?
yeah, that
or-
was, I think that's it. Oh, yeah, I just included my cited sources.
I just
there.
didn't want to cut you off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so,
So I asked our city manager, Gabe, to extend to you, singular and plural, an invitation to Monday's meeting with the drainage districts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we all need to be on the same page.
Absolutely.
we will be, I'm sorry, we will be streaming this event, the meeting, just like we do all our commission meetings?
yes, and it'll be here. at 10
Right,
minutes.
and so for those of you, I appreciate you so much for coming out and sharing your stories. I know many of you I've spoken with, I've visited your homes, and we're here to support you. And so the fact that you're here and you're listening and you're advocating, that's what democracy looks like. So we appreciate you being here. We want to be respectful of your time, which is why I move things around, so that way you're welcome to stay for the entire meeting. It's not always so entertaining, but you're always welcome. But we do have the meetings on YouTube, so you're welcome to watch in that fashion as well, if you don't want to be present or you cannot be present. Having said that, are there any questions for Ms. Garcia? And let's just kind of, if we can start with, just so that way we can go through. Mr.
Great information, well presented. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You filled in a lot of the gaps that I had. One of my, and you hit that I am an attorney, and I never like to sign anything unless I know exactly what I'm looking at, right?
Right.
I do have a concern for everyone that it seems a bit nebulous, right, what the request is. It's to support the potential creation of an organization that we don't even know how it's gonna, the makeup of it, right? And I love how thorough your presentation was, because one of the concerns I had was the 2019 Cameron County Flood Control Organization that you presented on, right? And so what happened, just background, is we had the 2019 flood, we had June 2018 flood, June 2019 flood, we got hit, Harvey hit. And so what we tried to do back, Alex Dominguez was our representative out of Brownsville, went to the legislature to create a very similar concept as this, right?
Yeah.
What happened was, when he went to Austin, there was so much opposition to it, it essentially was neutered, for lack of a better term, right?
Yeah.
And so, however we proceed forward, because of how complex this issue is, we need to make sure that the resolutions that we come to and the final decisions that we make are actionable, right? And I love, and Wandy, I think you hit the nail on the head when you and I spoke, is we need to make sure that there is action and we leave with some action, right? And so,
I think that's why, too, we've included in here, of course, we want this to happen now, right? I don't ever want to flood again. I don't want Wandy ever to have to move out of her house again. But at the end of the day, we know this takes time. And so with the 90th legislative session, we're working now. And our hope is that over the next 2 years, we can garner enough community support through flood victims, government support through our local governments, to really go as a full team up to the state legislator and say, we're done. We need this done now. Something has to give, because it's not working with what we have. So, yes, oh. No.
No, and I do say thank you. And I would really like to table this so as not to take any action, so you could come to Monday's meeting. And just to let you know, the word is karst, but for non-geologists, cave. I've done extensive work in caves and with cave hydrologists, and I've done dye tracing and all that sort. So
I should put you as an expert on my.
No, only if it's caves.
Morales, Commissioner?
One question, have you reached out to the Texas Water Development Board?
Yeah, so through our movement, I'm going to tell you, we are definitely in our infancy. We have really started to mobilize, and particularly after this most recent flood event. Like I said, we kind of meandered around as a group of people who were tired of this, we need to do something, but now we've really taken the initiative. We've got to organize, we've got to advocate, we've got to reach out to these people. So have we reached out to the Texas Water Development Board yet? Yes.
Let me answer that question. Thank you for that question, Mr. Morales, Commissioner Morales. Yes, so back in 2019, I was coordinating with Ms. Mireya Lowy, and she was feeding me all the information. Actually, I was one of the first to bring the idea of the Flood Infrastructure Fund and hold a town hall for commissions for the city of Harlingen, for all of our region. Even Cameron County was there, and we held it at the city of San Benito. And they heard it from the horse's mouth because for some reason people didn't believe that there was a flood infrastructure fund, but there was. So I wanted to set up a meeting, an informational, for elected officials, and we did that. And they gave the presentation from Austin explaining the abridged applications for the very first round of funding for the Flood Infrastructure Fund. And so, yes, we've been in contact with Texas Water Development Board. And also with Ms. Janie Lopez's, we were in a conference call with them, and the Texas Water Development Board was also on that phone call as well, on the same day that we met with Senator Adam Hinojosa.
What was the name of that person again?
The person at Texas Water Development Board was Mireya Lowy at the time in 2019. And I can't remember the lady's name, but she's a local Texas Water Development Board lady here. I can't remember her name.
You do realize that the 2019 and 2025 was a 1,000-year storm, right? Not 100.
So the 2025, yes, absolutely. I've got my expert right here telling me, but based on rain numbers, absolutely, that he would classify it as a 1,000-year storm. So the 2019 flood, I'm not 100% sure on that because the reports that came out on that were not at 1,000-year. The rainfall numbers were closer to the 100 to 500 year.
Right.
But as I was trying to demonstrate in one of the slides that I presented, we as citizens are hearing this all the time, that this is a once-in-a-lifetime event. This will never happen again. This was a 1,000-year flood, and it's not true. It's happening. And as demonstrated by the National Climate Assessment Report and Analysis, this area is at an increase. Right now, we're experiencing up to 5 flood events a year just based on the rains. And in the next 20, 30 years, we can expect up to 10 events a year. We've got to start mitigating it in some way.
So you're saying climate change is real?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't say
So
that.
there are repeated, there are repeated, so there are repeated flood victims here more than 2 times, more than the 2019 and just the 2025. It flooded in 2021, 2020, and numerous times it's flooded. And ask the people in Secluded Acres, people in Teocano, Green
So
Valley
I
Farm.
also serve on the Downtown District Board, and I've invited some of our downtown district, some of our downtown businesses here tonight. They get hit hard, constantly, even when it's just 1 to 2 inches of rain. We hear about them getting hit. I know Daniel's very concerned about them because that's his district. But this is something that, as a city, they're in the middle of our city. How do we help that area without helping to push the water away from the other areas?
So I'm
But-
going to correct you just because I want to make sure that I love the presentation, but we do not flood with 1 to 2 inches of rain. I do agree that, and I know a lot of the people that are here that do flood, and I know, especially Don Goyitos, I've seen it, but we don't want to give, I love the cause, but we don't want.
I don't want to give false information either, so this is, I will absolutely invite some of the business owners next time who have said some of
With
the.
1 to 2 inches
Yes,
of rain.
Yeah,
So-
that even
so-
when it's not these 100-year storms, they are getting water in.
So back in October of
22.
2022, there was a 10-year storm event here in Harlingen, and it handicapped the entire area. There was ambulances all over the place. Everything was closed. We have Miss Dawn Graves here, who floods with about 3 inches of rain, 5-year rain event. They get water really bad. So there are areas that in Harlingen that flood with very, very, very little rain, and they're forgotten because there's only about maybe 10 people in that, 10, how many houses? About 10 houses in the neighborhood, so there's not enough people there to advocate all the time that it rains, but there is direct development that happened nearby that causes this flooding, and it's always happening. Anywhere a new rooftop or anywhere a new pavement parking lot is being installed, there will be direct flooding there because we've met the capacity of the of the current drainage system that we have. It's a 75-year-old drainage system. So we're trying to do all these new things, and development is great, and I'm pro-development, but we just need to make sure that we stay up with the upkeep of the drainage system. That's all we're doing, and we know that it's a regional issue now because this is over 100
Right.
years in the making.
We're talking
I'm
about
not
issues in the
disagreeing
city
with
of
you.
Harlingen. Well, we're talking about cities, issues in the city of Harlingen, but I'm going to say this, we have members from all over the RGV, and this is not exclusive to your city. This is not exclusive to county areas or the Teocano Lake area. This is happening regionally, which is why we're proposing this. And we're done pointing fingers. I feel like the finger has gotten pointed so much across anytime it floods, they, oh, we'll call that person, it's their fault. Well, we'll call that person, it's their fault. And then they said, oh, we'll call the city. And we had a city commissioner in another city tell me, but I am the city. How am I supposed to call myself? Like, I'm calling you guys for help.
I assure you, Ms. Garcia, that all of them call the city commission and call the city of Harlingen, inside, outside, surrounding county, and we welcome it, really. I understand, and we want to hear those stories. But I do want to move on to Commissioner Pettis.
So I'm assuming, I'm just curious, what's the point of tabling it?
To invite them to Monday's meeting with the drainage districts, because we need everybody on the same team.
Okay, so I'm going to just and so I was giving you an opportunity to speak. Do you have anything you want to?
Well, yeah, that's why I'm asking Mike.
Aside from the tabling, because I want to adjust that too, but anything else for?
No, well, I think you guys did an excellent job. I agree with what you're doing. I think that it's about time that we do something different. I disagree with Daniel that I don't think that supporting this is something that we're just like proving that what we don't know or something, to use his word, you have a better vocabulary than I do, nebulous. I think this is something that shows that we're willing to think outside of the box. I think for many years, what we've been doing is just the same thing over and over and over again, and it's not working. And I know I read somewhere where the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, and I feel that's what we're doing. And I think the resolution that we have is just something that, saying that we're open to the idea of maybe the flood control district is the solution, or maybe just one tool that we can use in order to improve the drainage that we have here. So again, I thank you for what you guys did. I admire for all of you folks that came over here. I know you guys have busy lives. The fact that you came over here and took the time to be here and listen to us, and thank you.
Gabe, how much money has the city spent on drainage in the last, let's say, 10 years?
$23 million.
22.
Yeah, I've already looked at that.
That includes $7 million in drainage improvements that developers have made that we've taken over.
Yeah, and that's our point, is you guys can't do it alone.
Right.
That's what we're trying to say.
We need another 300 million just for Harlingen.
Absolutely.
Just for Harlingen.
And we want you to get that money, which is why we're saying collectively going out for funds, state and federal funds.
And the IBWC sat over there twice while I've been up here over the years. And I told them, you gotta dredge the arroyo. And they said, no, we just have to cut the branches. They said, it doesn't silt in. And it's like, yoy.
Commissioner Mesmar, we are
In sync.
in sync, yes.
So I want to address a few things. Okay, so first and foremost, I want to thank you, Ms. Garcia and your husband, for all of the hard work that you put into this. It does not go unnoticed. All of the community advocacy. I know that you've been doing this for years now. I first met you when you were doing some of this, and none of us were on this commission, I think, at that time, or you were, but I wasn't here. So I know that there has been a lot of heart and soul and passion into this, not just the presentation, but just into the movement, because that's what really this looks like to me. Being up here on this commission isn't always an easy job, because sometimes things happen in our community that are outside of our control. Mother Nature we cannot control. Global warming is real, and there are going to continue to have these flood events, right? We can only mitigate, we cannot eliminate, no matter what. Even if we are able to be successful with this initiative, it will never be where somebody can sit up here and say, we will never flood again, right? We would love to say that, but we always want to be honest and transparent. What we've been able to do in this commission over the last few years has been significant. We have seen improvements. As mentioned, we've created our drainage crew. We have done lots of improvements in District 2 because of the advocacy of the commissioners. District 5, everybody here wants what's best for their district and their community. That's why single-member districts are important, because they drive those same streets. Sometimes they flood also, and it's important for them to live in those areas to be able to represent you well. It's also important for us to have relationships with our federal delegation and our state delegation. I've worked really, really hard, and I know a lot of people talk that I've been to Washington, I've been to Austin, and yes, I have. Not all of the stuff that you hear is true, but the fact that I have been there, that is true, and I will tell you that being in Washington and having those relationships with our federal delegation has brought us millions of dollars for drainage.
Absolutely.
We've gotten direct earmarks, appropriations specifically for our community because of those relationships. Things we didn't get before, we do get now, but it's not enough. It's not enough. Talking to the Texas Water Development Board in Austin, I've gone multiple times, have a good relationship with the Water Development Board. In fact, when they took on their on-the-road commission meetings, they sat right here, and the chair of the Texas Water Development Board sat in this chair and granted us $10 million because of those relationships. So things are happening. Just because you don't hear about them doesn't mean it's not happening. But again, it's not enough. Because of having those relationships, I decided that I wanted to know more about this initiative. I know that I've spoken with y'all, I've spoken with some of the members. I called the senator's office and I called the representative's office to talk about these issues. And so some of the same concerns that I have that I think are shared by some of the members of the commission are, which is what I told the senator and I told our representative, is how are we going to ensure that Harlingen is protected? The last thing that I want is to hand over the keys, right, to a political board operated by the state or operated outside of our jurisdiction, and to strip funding from our community. I want to be able to ensure that anything that we do moving forward is going to bring more resources and not less resources to our community. The only way that we can do that is to ensure that every single stakeholder is at the table.
Absolutely.
And the representative and the senator is on board with that. They've mentioned to me, just like you had in your PowerPoint, that local government buy-in is important. Nobody likes to be talked at. They want to be part of the conversation. And so I think it's going to be really important to develop and foster those relationships with the drainage districts, the irrigation districts, the cities, the counties. It's difficult because emotions are high right now. People are vulnerable. They're tired. I also am tired of hearing 100-year storm, 1,000-year storm. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares because if water is in your home, it doesn't matter how many inches. Right. It just matters that there was water in your home. I know that we did a lot of improvements, and we are going to be talking about this in this workshop that we have, and we saw that the city of Harlingen, even though we had devastation, even though there's people still rebuilding, those drainage improvements did mitigate. It's just not enough. Right. We saw the water recede in areas much faster. I talk to residents and they tell me this has been this last time was flooded for a week. This time it was 2 days. Is that enough? No, it's not, because you still have water in your home. But it means that the steps that we have taken are working, but we do need to continue to improve. And that's really, really, really important. And we're going to continue to do that. But as I mentioned before, it's going to take time. It's going to take additional monies. We want to make sure that if this is the solution, that it's going to be a solution. I'm sorry, but I am very pro Harlingen, and so I want to help everybody, but I want to make sure that Harlingen is taken care of first. It is regional. It was, having that regional relationships And fostering those types of relationship with our sister cities is the reason why we were able to do what we did during the flood. So I'm going to constantly be looking at working together. So this is a great opportunity, but we also need to make sure as Harlingenites that we are focusing on the money staying in our community. And so I have some reservations. Hidalgo County has a lot of debt, more debt than Cameron County when it comes to monies that they've borrowed. How is that going to work? If we're going to tax our community, we need to tell them that their tax is going to be there to be able to fund this. So there's lots of questions. But I will urge this commission that despite all of those reservations, that tabling this item is not in the best interest of this community, because I did make those have those conversations to be prepared for this meeting with our representative and with our senator, and they know Harlingen's concerns and are going to ensure that those issues are dealt with before this is presented. However, thank you for that, but however, I do, and I think Daniel and I are probably the ones that are very wordy and constantly changing resolutions. I want to make sure that that is represented in any resolution that we do sign, that this is conditioned upon that we have the answers to those questions, that we support a regional movement, we support regionalism, but we want to make sure that Harlingen is taken care of. We don't want to say, yes, we support something, and then the money goes somewhere else. And I will tell you, sitting on several regional boards, that Harlingen gets the short end of the stick when there is a lot of money being dispersed because it's based on population. I don't want that to happen to Harlingen. I know that everybody wants, a solution, but we need the right solution, and we need to make sure that we're putting ourselves in a position where we can negotiate that. And we don't want to sign that away. So if we can make some changes to that, to the resolution to ensure that that is what we are memorializing on there, then I would ask this commission to adopt that resolution so that way we move forward in the right direction.
I'm happy you say that because I made some changes.
You have to speak to the author first.
Huh?
Let me just say, I think you hit a nail on the head there, and that's why I wanted to focus on the impacts of Harlingen in particular. The Arroyo Colorado runs straight through our city. Money will be coming to this area. You cannot deny, when we look at the watershed approach, that the Arroyo Colorado watershed is an important part of flood mitigation. And us having the unique circumstances of it running right through our city is going to ensure that that is looked after, funded, and cared for.
That is true, but then keep in mind, you can compare it to transportation. We are the gateway to the United States, being on the border, but we don't get the funding that we need for an interstate. We don't get the funding that we need to ensure that we are competitive globally, and we should be. So that's what everybody tells us, but then once you're in those meetings, and it changes. And being a member of some of these regional organizations that are supposed to be beneficial to Harlingen. I'm always that voice for Harlingen, and so is Gabe. But if we don't make sure that that is in writing in black and white, then we take that risk that we just hope that they're gonna do what's right? We know we need that because we live here and we understand, but we just need to ensure that people in Austin who do not live here and who sometimes don't hear these stories and don't know what's happening down here, that maybe that's not their first consideration, right? And so that is the reason why I think it's really, really important that we make sure that it's we flesh all of those questions and we move forward responsibly.
I repeat myself. I would like you to talk with the drainage districts, and I would like to table this until the next meeting so that the drainage districts are on board too, because we can't ignore them and you can't ignore them.
Absolutely not. I agree with you, Commissioner Mesmar. I guess what we are advocating for, sometimes when the drainage districts hear this, they feel like we're trying to get rid of them. We're trying to cut their jobs. And that's absolutely not what we're advocating for, and we would love to have those discussions with them. We're open to having those discussions with them so they can see truly what we are advocating for at this time. But again, those are also man-made boundaries. And so they're trying to protect and fund within their own area. And so in order to get them, we need to get out of that and into more a regional kind of approach to this, so.
And having lived in Houston for many years while I was in law school, I will
Yeah.
tell you, they are not doing it right. It floods and floods and floods.
All the time.
And it rains every single day in Houston. And I was a flood victim when we were living in Houston. So, like I said, it's, we can have the best, intention, but sometimes even
Absolutely.
the best intentions don't give us the results, right, that we
Right.
want. But I do think that this is a great starting point. And to Mike's point of speaking with the drainage districts, I don't think it's, we want to, I think it's an absolute. You absolutely need to, within, not just in our community, but neighboring in Willacy and Hidalgo, and getting everybody, getting their feedback on what works and what doesn't work in their communities.
I have a
What
question.
I'd propose, I'm sorry, Frank, go ahead.
Have you met with any of the drainage districts recently?
Yes, Mr. Morales. And by the way, Ms. Queta Caballero, to answer your question from the Harlingen office here at Texas Water Development Board, Queta.
The other one. Sorry.
Yes, to answer your question, yes, again. We met with, I met with Drainage District Number 3, Carla. She's the new manager. She's the third manager in the last year, that's been in charge of that drainage district. Craig Harmon was there before. Yes, I told her all about our initiative here at RGV Coda, and she said that she was very familiar with our work. And I just said, imagine, and it's like, we're so many trees. According to their, they're amazed as first-time general managers and assistant general managers that there's so many trees and ditches. That's a good, first starting point, admitting that, then that's something needs to be done. But I spoke to her about, the funding mechanism. If they were to consolidate, they would still be in the same areas, but imagine if we had a regional oversight entity to help them do a job for that region, if they were to stay simply within that area and that bounds. But we do need this oversight entity. That's what we're proposing, Commissioner.
Have you met with District Number 5?
I've not met with District Number 5 yet, but we plan on being there to meet with District Number 5 and 6 and get 2 of them in one shot. But we've met with 3, and we're willing to meet with 1. I've reached out to Hidalgo County as well.
When did you meet with 3?
Friday? Just past Friday? Just this past Friday?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I was going to say, last night I spoke with Mr. Jennings from District 5, and he is familiar with it, and I believe he's on board, definitely on board for a change, and getting stuff fixed.
He's one of our newest members to our group.
Just added him right now.
He was very receptive,
No, Jennings is a good guy.
I think that's the ultimate key too, is as I presented, these districts are underfunded and understaffed. And, Drainage District 6, which was newly created, they don't have any staff or machinery at this point. They're working on purchasing those things. So that's where we want to help collectively to solve this as a region and get more funding and get more manpower.
Just because I know I'm dropping this, guys, on the right now, I wanted to see how this conversation went, right? What this is saying is that we are dedicated to working towards a solution on regional drainage, right? And to continue this conversation in so many words, right? And so it talks about, and what it was so important to me, and the mayor's always way better at this than I am, is kind of giving that chronological order of what and how things have happened. So I can email it to you guys right now so everyone will have the time to review it. What it talks about, and it's something that I had not seen in the presentation, was that in 2019, the Texas Water Development Board was ordered to by the state legislature to create a statewide flood control plan, right? And that's where I'm driving into. And JV's absolutely correct, right? In 2019 was also the year that the FIF, which is the Flood Infrastructure Fund, was created as well. It talks about how in order for us to even tap into that money, we have to have plans or go for projects that are already approved by our region. So what happened is Texas is broken up into 15 regions. We, just so we know, are Region 15. That's what paragraph 2 talks about at the top of there, right? And what they did is in 2023, they came up with a plan that shows all the different projects and mitigation things that we should be doing. The only way we can access the FIF is if we have projects that go towards that. And so I also, at the end, have a plan of action about what we need to be doing in the meanwhile. I talked to our lobbyist to see whether this could be done, the flood control district, and could be created this legislative session, and it's a no, right? Correct. So the goal is we need to have that plan, and I cannot underscore and emphasize your point enough on how to adequately proceed forward in a way where we're all comfortable and hit the mayor's points. So I can send it to you guys to look at and review. If you look at, I know Gabe, I showed it to him, has concerns with the timeline because I'm very aggressive, as you guys know, with things. And seeing how we can be working regionally between now and the 90th legislature. So I can send it to you guys and we can go from there.
So,
Well, excuse me, what is this Region 15? This is not under the Texas Water Development Board, is it?
So in 2019, after Hurricane Harvey hit Houston, the Texas legislature said, hey, we need to create a flood control plan. Right? And they tasked the Texas Water Development Board with doing it. The Texas Water Development Board, I forget, it's like 400 pages. I forget which program that they mimicked, but they mimicked the program and broke Texas into 15 regions. We are Region 15, which is the lower Rio Grande flood planning region, right? We consist of like 14 counties, or one of 14 counties in there.
Because what I have is it's a Region M under Rio Grande.
I can share.
And that's under the Texas Water Development Board. And that's comprised of Maverick, Webb, Zapata, Jim Hogg, Starr, Hidalgo, Willacy, and Cameron County.
Ours is
So that's our region, okay, with the Texas Water Development Board.
I think we're talking about two separate things. I'm talking about the
Obviously, but-
2024 flood plan, right?
And this one is updated March of '25.
Well, I can show you what I have. It's right here if you like.
I have mine here.
all right, what are we doing, guys?
So,
Straight up, okay, I would like to table this, all right? If nothing's gonna happen this legislative session, let's just slow it down so we can have a meeting with the districts, drainage district number 5 and 6. You're gonna be there. There's a couple of things I would like to share with you, okay? One of the things that this commission, or better yet, where is he? Chris has been able to do, and he's been working quite a bit in trying to update. Now we're gonna get some fresh equipment. When we came on board, we were told we had 2 Vector trucks. In reality, we only had one that was functional, the other one wasn't. We're up to 2 now. One's on its way out, and we're gonna get another one. That's just a little bit of what we have done. And there's a lot of work the Public Works has really started to work on it, on getting a lot of things up to speed. And there's plenty that still lacks severely. I know for a fact because I have asked for certain things to be done, and after 2 years, they haven't even touched it.
Yeah, we're
You
not
know-
trying to diminish the work that the city has done at all. We recognize that.
But there's something that every flood victim here that's here needs to understand. Before I look at you or anybody else, I look inward. In this case, I'm looking at my fellow commissioners. All right? There's a couple of things that you guys have missed. I haven't. We have the Casa del Sol project. I'm not in favor of that. 1 million is gonna come out of the hot tax, that's fine. But everything else afterwards is gonna come out of the taxpayers. If that's gonna be a $2 million project, you apply that 2 million to
Commissioner, you're off topic.
And I'm trying to get to the point of why I'm against it when we can double our grant funds and apply that to drainage in his district.
Okay, so let's, no, let's just keep order and stay on task. I recognize what you're saying, Commissioner, but I urge this commission to not table at this time because nothing is going to change between now and Monday. Monday, we're going to have a workshop, and that workshop is going to be productive, and we're going to talk about all of the mitigation efforts. I think everybody in this community recognizes that there was a shift and that this commission has been dedicated and solely focused on improvements and have mitigated drainage, but as we mentioned before, it's not enough, and we're continuing to improve what this does. And I'm glad that Daniel has a second proposed resolution. This is not committing without ensuring that we have those questions answered, which are to ensure that the funding continues to prioritize Harlingen. And so I would urge you, Commissioner Morales, to think of the individuals that are in your district, especially White Oak, that I've walked through that neighborhood as you have, and are displaced from their homes. They want to see this commission moving forward in a way that is going to bring them some peace of mind, knowing that this commission is focused on what matters and making sure that water is not in their home, no matter what type of rain event it is. And this is a way to show them that you are supportive of this effort, but that we're doing it responsibly. I'll be the first one to say that I am not going to sign off on anything that does not guarantee that monies are going to stay in this community. But we can do that simultaneously by ensuring that what we do propose isn't something that is used at another community, in another municipality or any of that, but that works for Harlingen. And so I don't think that tabling it is going to solve anything. We're going to bring it back, and we're going to be in the same position as we are today, except with more information regarding the improvements that the city has done, which I believe that we have done a lot. And with our public works crew, we do work with DD5, DD6, and we're going to continue. I think we have conversations right now for an MOU for District 5. We're not going to stop working. This is just another opportunity for us to look at potential solutions.
Mr. Saucy, do you see anything wrong with this resolution as it's written?
I think there's enough wording in the resolution where the city has it's conditional. The city's not committing to anything other than articulating its support for the concept. And I would add that several years ago, when the counties merged the three MPOs, we had a lot of the same concerns, right? We had different cities with different populations. The concern was that money would go shifting somewhere else. And
it is.
It is. You're right.
And it is.
So those are things that have to be addressed, but this resolution itself doesn't necessarily commit the city to any particular form. You know, it would have to be subject to further negotiation between the different entities.
Yeah, I wrote the resolution, the original one. And I purposely, because I know I have
That's why it
attorneys.
has all those typos, I think.
Yeah. And I know a lot, we have some attorneys on the commission, and I know Daniel was actually my inspiration for it, because every time we do a resolution, stuff like that, Daniel, and I admire him for that. He's always watching out for the best interest of the city. He doesn't want to commit where we don't have to commit and stuff like that, because he always wants to make sure that the city's covered. So when I wrote that, I wrote it as, as kind of like how Mark said, where it gives us a lot of breathing room. It doesn't commit us to anything, but it just says that, yes, we're into the idea, we're considering it, we understand that it's a regional issue, that kind of stuff. And that the flood control district, maybe it's an option, maybe it's not, but hey, we like the sound of it, but we do want to know more details. So it's intentionally vague because of that reason. And I agree with the mayor, when we have that meeting on Monday, I don't see anything changing. I'm the one that requested that meeting. I'm the one that emailed Gabe, and after doing my neighborhood drive-arounds, and I talked to Gilbert Galvan, and I've, had conversations with Rolando, that we don't communicate that much, so that's something that we want to change, because the mayor's right, we've done a lot for drainage, a lot. I know in my district, Daniel's done a lot, and I know we've done a lot in general. So I don't honestly see anything changing on Monday. We were going to talk about interlocal agreements that I'm trying to get with Drainage District 5 and 6, so that way we don't have to rely, because just like I don't remember his name, but the gentleman right there brought up some ditches, they might not be in our area, but if we have an interlocal agreement or MOU, we can go there and take care of it ourselves instead of having to wait to them, because I give the drainage districts props. I mean, both Gilbert and Orlando are two individuals that care deeply about what they do and their mission, but I just think that sometimes they're handicapped because they don't have the equipment, they don't have the staff, or they don't have the funding for it. And I know it's starting to affect my district. I know in the Pelican's Landing, one of the reasons why it flooded in the back two streets was because when I went on a trip when I went on my neighborhood drive with Oscar and staff and Christopher and stuff, we noticed that drainage ditch in the back had not been maintained in a long, long, long time. And it's not because they don't want to do it, they just don't have the materials for it. But anyways, I'm getting off topic, but yeah. So you were my inspiration, Dan, just letting you know.
Okay.
I apologize for not being as wordy as everybody else, but I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolutions.
Second.
Okay, hang on, I'm confused.
We've got a motion and a second.
Yeah, this draft number 2,
Which one are you?
My draft number 2 is based off of the draft that Rini proposed. So his is draft 1.
you dressed it up.
Okay, we have a motion on the table, and the motion is from Commissioner Kinsley. Commissioner, is that
The one that was presented to us originally, that I just queried Mr. Saucy if he was satisfied with the way it was written.
The Rini version.
Got it.
So Daniel, you're,
Okay, hold on, Mike, because we already have, we have the motion and we have a second. And you have questions regarding that motion? Yes?
I have questions. So have you read draft number 2, Saucy?
Yes, I have.
Which one is superior?
It's not a question of superior, it's a question of, they do different things. The first resolution is a resolution in support of a regional plan, and it's qualified, right? I mean, the city has the right to withdraw from it or look at it. Commissioner Lopez has drafted some very specific steps that he wants the city to take to address the same problem, but just along a different path. So it's really a question of what direction the city commission as a body wants to take on this.
To me, the reason I drafted mine the way I drafted is I wanted concrete steps that we take as we proceed forward through this communication.
Versus a
consideration.
fluffy cloud.
Correct, compared to that nebulousness that I referenced earlier, right? And so what I talk about is what staff needs to be doing in the meanwhile over the next 150 days, right? Which is the compilation of all the drainage projects that we have in the region, the compilation of, to Commissioner Pettis' point, is how can we work on those and collaborate on those drainage projects, and for staff to bring us a plan to do so as we continue with looking into this issue. What I want is steps, concrete steps that we can point at to say, we are not floating by, we are taking action.
Okay, so Mark, can we, the motion second's been made on proposal number 1. If that's defeated, can we vote on draft number 2?
Yes.
The only thing I noticed is, because I'm trying to read what you wrote, Daniel, because that's why I haven't,
But
they keep moving it up and down.
Let me help a little bit, just because we have this, community doesn't have it, and neither does Ms. Garcia. So just to kind of summarize, the resolution authored by Commissioner Bettis kind of talked a lot in circles and is non-committal, right? But it serves a purpose and gives you that Harlingen supports us, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's good. The proposed by Commissioner Lopez in anticipation of this meeting is a little bit of a history of what has been done in the past in terms of the ledge and what happened after the floods in 2019. What Representative Lopez has been pushing for in regards to ensuring that our community is addressed as artificial drainage, the support that this city of Harlingen, through the advocacy of the governmental team, which is myself and Commissioner Lopez and Kinsley, going up there and advocating for it, and then saying we are now hearing from a grassroots initiative, coalition, and listening to that feedback, and are supportive of this, and in addition to that, don't want to have a resolution that really means nothing for the community. We want a resolution that has actionable steps to ensure that, because we know, especially I know after speaking with the senator's office, that this is most likely going to be for the 90th session.
Right.
And it's going to require a lot of hard work. And so emotions are high right now, but you're going to have to put in the work with us. We're going to work together so that way we're ready to go next time. We're going to continue doing all the mitigation efforts. We're going to continue purchasing equipment. We're going to continue doing all the drainage improvements. But in addition to that, there are these steps. And the steps are, number one, the staff shall annually present the drainage projects planned for the upcoming fiscal year. I heard we want more transparency. We want on the website. We want to know what you're doing, when you're doing it, and why you're doing it.
Just background on that. Last time when we had our budget, that was brought up. And so I created a work plan for District 2, and I included the exact things you wanted, sir. I included what project it was, where the funding source was coming from, proposed start date, proposed end date, and what it was supposed to do. So,
Yes.
to that point, and that's what I want, not just my district has that, but I want it citywide. So
And we encourage every commissioner has their style, but we want to make sure that there's some teeth behind the resolution. And so that is happening in District 2 already. I think you have that on the page, the website
If you
page.
go to the city page and you look me up, you'll see it, my whole plan for drainage, for infrastructure, for public services, everything.
So number 2, staff shall facilitate and coordinate annual meetings between members of local government entities to review and discuss drainage efforts so as to buttress.
Trying to use that, those SAT words.
Regional flood risk mitigation. Number 3, within 30 days of this resolution and order, Harlingen staff shall meet with staff members of Harlingen area municipalities, drainage and irrigation districts, and county staffs to compile a list of ongoing drainage projects from throughout the county. Number 4, within 60 days of this resolution and order, Harlingen staff shall create an interactive map on the city's webpage identifying all ongoing and planned drainage projects throughout the city. Said map shall be updated annually by the Special Projects Department, Engineering Department, Public Works Department, and the Management Information Systems Department, which is why Gabe is saying this is a tall order. Number 5, within 90 days of this resolution in order, Harlingen staff shall identify local projects that have a direct impact on Harlingen and determine further steps that can be taken to support said projects. And number 6, within 150 days of this resolution in order, Harlingen staff shall present to the Harlingen City Commission at a public meeting concrete steps that can be taken to coordinate and support local drainage projects which will benefit Harlingen residents. And so this is the resolution, and it indicates City of Harlingen resolution in support of regional flood collaboration. So as you guys mentioned, I know, Jessica, you said it doesn't matter if it's the Norma Sepulveda project or any of those things, but this is, it takes everything that you're asking for and saying these are the steps that we are going to take. I would say the only thing that's missing here is a line that says you support this cause of regional, these are steps for regionalism, but that we are listening to the residents.
That was going to be my point, because I'm reading yours, I like yours. If you want to put the steps into the resolution, we could amend it and add those steps to it. I don't mind about that. But I did notice on reading yours, and
It's very Harlingen focused.
You do great on the contextualization and all that stuff, letting know where the system is and all that other stuff. But not once in there do you mention anything about that we're open to the idea of a flood control district. I don't see that at all anywhere. So if we can keep ours, then just the original one, and if you want to add the steps, because I agree with the steps, go for it. Those are concrete steps that we can put on there. Andale, let's go.
So having said that, okay, you have a motion and a second and so we do need to put this to a vote. Would you, Commissioner Kinsley, do you want to amend your motion in any way? Or do you want to keep it as is so we can move forward with this already?
If we could make it as is with the addition of the steps that Commissioner Lopez has put out here in draft number 2 that the mayor just read to everyone, and ensuring that the approval and recommendation for support of the regional issue be included, I will amend my motion.
Commissioner Lopez agreed to extend the timeline. I don't know what you would be comfortable extending it to.
Give me something aggressive. I don't want us to be sitting on this.
Yeah, but you've got all this to be completed before the end of the fiscal year. That's in 5 months. That's too aggressive.
So give me dates that you feel are comfortable.
Okay, let me get with staff and I'll work with some dates with you that you feel comfortable with, but I think trying to do all this before the end of the fiscal year is going to be, it's
About
not
the
going to be
calendar
doable.
year.
And we've got budget. So how about, Commissioner Kinsley, cleaning up the language, it does need some cleaning up, the resolution that is, the way that it's presented, it's kind of all jumbled around. And then these steps that Commissioner Lopez wants included for maybe condition that on Gabe providing us a realistic timeline for us to accept at our next meeting, like an addendum or an amendment to this resolution. Can we do that? Like an addendum, like just say that we're adopting this resolution conditioned upon that we have some actionable steps with a timeline presented.
Why don't we do this? You've accepted a friendly amendment in theory. Gabe has indicated he needs a little bit more time.
Right.
Can we agree on some outside parameters for time, and then we'll just write it up in
At
such a way
discretion
where you can sign it, you can move to accept the resolution as amended, subject to the time parameters you give Gabe.
Right. We want them to be aggressive, but we also want them to be realistic.
Yeah, I think this is a win-win for both of us, because we're getting what we want, open to the idea of it. But at the same time, I admire the fact that you want concrete steps. So you're getting what you want too, and then we clean up the language, and I think it's a win-win for everyone.
So the language would then be that we are open to the idea, that we're not, in fact, endorsing the idea.
Yes, open to
That's
the
what it
idea.
says
That's the
in
whole
the
thing.
resolution.
From the
Well,
beginning.
the way I've read it was that we were in support of.
I think you should put the 90th, after speaking with our delegation. I mean, that was their instructions to me, that they don't have the time at this point. We're 23 days left in the session or something to that effect, and so that it would not be in this session, and that we need to work really hard towards it and give them the assistance that they need and to be collaborating with our community partners.
I still don't understand why we can't table this.
Well, we can if it doesn't
Wait,
pass.
listen. And Daniel and Gabe meet and change dates, because Daniel's is way better written and has more teeth in it.
That's what we're doing. We're combining
And-
both.
Commissioner, we've got a motion, and did we have a second?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Okay, so there's a
okay.
motion and second, it
Yep.
needs to be
We're doing
voted
what you
on,
want.
and then we can
Yep.
vote on
combining
it.
So
both.
we have a motion, and Commissioner Kinsley, are you comfortable with the representation from Mark?
Yes.
Okay, and we have a second from Commissioner Bettis. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay. Did you vote?
I heard an aye, Daniel. I heard an aye. I mean, you're getting what you
I
want.
think we need to just soften the language. That's what I think.
Yeah, we clean up the language.
If you give us authority to soften the language and incorporate the two, and I can work with staff, I think we can do it.
And as long as we put the flood control district open to the idea.
The idea will be explored.
So you can propose a new motion. What do we, because this is not your motion,
You
it's
gotta vote
Ford's.
one way or the other, bro.
Yes,
Yes.
so
So then
please.
I vote no.
Okay, all right? Okay, so now that is no, it fails. Now, do you have a new motion?
Make a motion that you and I, Commissioner Bettis, and staff will draft merge the two documents so that it's something that we both feel comfortable with, where it doesn't tie the city into having to go forward on the flood control district, but explore the idea after discussions and have these concrete steps.
As long as the flood control district's on there and we're open to the idea of that, I'm good with that.
I'll second that.
And then we'll work with Gabe on the timeline.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Lopez, a second by Commissioner Mesmer. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay. Motion carries with, and you were, four. Okay, all right. So the only one that voted against it is Commissioner Morales. Right. All right. Thank you all for your patience. Do we have anybody else? Wait, yes, we have one more resolution. All right, Melinda, I'm going to move some things out of, just to, yes.
But it can be drafted in such a, you can also have try to have a right to withdraw from it. You know, when they create the special utility district, that any city could have a right to withdraw from it.
All right, we are going to go over to item 10. All right, we are still in session. Item 10G, consideration and possible action to approve a resolution in support of legislative action to amend the Texas Transportation Code to expand and enhance overweight corridor design for improved freight mobility between ports of entry in Cameron and Hidalgo counties. I know that we had, I believe, someone here from the port. Thank you. My apologies.
Trip down memory lane. My name's Neil Hammond. I'm one of 5 commissioners representing the Port of Harlingen. And we're here to ask you to support our efforts to extend our overweight corridor from Los Indios to Progreso.
Thank you.
Are you all familiar with overweight corridors?
I think we are all intimately familiar with the legislation and the challenges to the port.
I left a map for you all that really illustrates the geographic locations, if you will, on the overweight corridor.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much for being
Thank you all
here.
very much for your support.
Okay, is there anyone else waiting on me? Okay, you know what? I am going to take things a little more out of order. Board appointments, we're going to go to item 11. Can we start with Commissioner Kinsley? Do you have any board appointments?
Yes, I have 2 for the Veterans Advisory Board. Sergio Barrios to fill a vacancy that was shown on the list, and Adon Trevino to replace Alvin McLean, who has moved from Harlingen. You should have received copies of the applications for both.
Yes, we did. Commissioner Lopez?
None.
Okay. And I have Miss Diana Young, who is here, present. Thank you for being here. And you have received a copy of her application. It's before you, and that is for the CDBG Board. Mike?
Yes, reappoint Eric Zehe to the Community Development Corporation of Harlingen.
On that board.
Hmm?
I don't think he's on that board.
Yeah, he is.
With the EDC?
He did. I think he told me he's not on that board.
Well, we have them here. Orlando?
Is Eric on that board? I believe I've had a conversation. He's not on that board anymore, right?
He's, according to our bylaws, he's on the board until someone else.
No, not the EDC.
I'm sorry.
Not
Oh.
the EDC board.
Community Development Corporation.
That is EDC.
Yeah, that's,
Oh, my apologies. Sorry.
But isn't he termed out or something?
Okay, got it.
Pardon?
Yeah.
I think he's termed out.
He
He's
has
termed-
already served his
He's
full
termed
term.
out.
Oh,
Yeah, so
nobody's told me.
he only stays on the board until someone else is appointed. but he's already served his full
You
term.
cannot reappoint, you can just wait until you appoint, and then he has someone
Well,
else.
this is all news to me.
I thought he was also on the 4B board, but he told me he wasn't, and that was a while back. I was confusing, I'm sorry, my apologies. Anyone else?
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner?
Primitivo Paicon for the Community Development Advisory Board.
Okay. Commissioner?
None.
All right, is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Young, for being here. All right, anyone else waiting on me?
The ordinances.
Cassandra? Yes, just looking at me.
We still have a public hearing we didn't address.
Yes, okay, let's go back to.
Mayor, did you appoint Vanessa Covarrubias?
Monday?
You were going to appoint Vanessa Covarrubias to the CDBG board?
I did, didn't I?
No.
Oh,
You did Diana Young.
okay, I thought I did, in my mind I did. And Ms., thank you for that. Ms., can I get a motion to approve Vanessa Corubias to?
Motion.
The
Second.
Healthy Harlingen. Second, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Melinda.
Welcome, Mayor.
I know, but, yeah, that's getting, I need to get used to that. Okay, we have one more public hearing amending the City of Harlingen Code of Ordinances, Chapter 111 zoning, Article number 18, Section 111505 SUPs by eliminating the need for a special use permit to receive a recommendation from the Downtown Improvement District Board and eliminating the language to not allow an adult premises in the Downtown District overlay. And at this time, we'll open the public hearing on this item. Having no one here to speak for or against this item, we will close the public hearing. And we will go to the companion ordinance consideration. Item 10A, and possible action to adopt an ordinance on first reading, amending the City of Harlingen Code of Ordinances, Chapter 111, zoning, Article 18, Section 111505, special use permits by eliminating the need for an SUP to receive a recommendation from the Downtown Improvement District Board and eliminating the language to not allow an adult business in the Downtown District overlay. Mark, can you read the caption?
Sure.
10A.
Jumping around quick here. An ordinance amending the City of Harlingen Code of Ordinances, Chapter 111 zoning, Article 19, Section 111505A, special use permits by eliminating the need for a special use permit in the Downtown District overlay to receive a recommendation from the Downtown Improvement District Board and eliminating the language to not allow an adult business in the Downtown District overlay, providing for publication and ordaining other matters related to the foregoing.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, motion carries.
This is the reason I opposed trying to hop in there before, is that the way it was drafted is now going to allow for like a bunch of tattoo parlors and things like that, which I don't believe is the vision of this downtown, or our vision for our downtown, right? So I agree with Commissioner Pettis' position of the bars, that SUP being given the green light, but I don't want then there just to be tattoo parlors and what's it called, the eyebrow places and all that stuff, which is not the overall vision.
Yeah.
They
we-
still come before.
Yeah,
us.
it would still come to us over here.
Correct. So it would still come before you, yes, and it still gets approved by or reviewed by the downtown district. Ultimately, you would have the final say.
But if we just cut it off now, then we only just get, those would still be left out of that area, and we just approve.
So there are several, and I had sent you all the use chart. There's several businesses that require a special use permit.
So we already voted, so that's done. But I would suggest that we look at the entire community of Harlingen if we're going to do that, to look at the vision of the city, because if we're going to do that, then I'd be supportive of limiting others, like all the vape places we've got in town, and there's a bunch of other things that I think that we could work on collectively. I don't disagree with the vision of downtown, but I think sometimes we forget about the rest of the city, and we should look at it comprehensively and see what's best in that comprehensive plan that we have for the community moving forward. But that's a great idea. But a lot of people like getting tattoos. I don't have any, but, I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure about that one. But, okay, so that one has passed, and then we're going to, thank you, Sol. Beautiful presentation. Item 10C, let's get Cassandra out of here. Consideration and possible action to approve an ordinance on first reading authorizing the Visit Harlingen, Harlingen CVB to sell souvenir items at the Downtown Improvement District Office. This is an ordinance, Mark? 10C? I'm really excited about this one. Cassandra and I have talked about this for some time, so.
You want to read the ordinance for you?
Okay, an ordinance amending the Chapter 18 Master Fee Schedule of the Harlingen Code of Ordinances to authorize the sale of souvenir items at the Downtown Improvement District Office, providing a severability clause and providing for publication and an effective date.
All right, is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
I have one
Second.
question.
Yes,
Are you going to have city maps?
I do have city maps.
They still make maps?
I think those are free, aren't they?
Yeah, we have maps. There's also a copy of it in the lobby down here as
No,
well.
I'm referring to a real city map, not the few streets and that's it.
It's large, like, it does have all the streets listed on
All
it.
right, I'll double check. Thank you.
If you want a more detailed map, we have, in our city guide, an excerpt of the city, of the downtown, and then we also have excerpt map of the parks as well in the city guide.
When you say souvenirs, you mean like just like caps and stuff like that?
T-shirts, hats, keychains, things that say Harlingen,
What I would recommend is like with Christopher, his staff has these awesome caps.
the pride ones, or?
Yeah, those,
the
and
orange
just
ones?
because like during the flooding, when I was doing a lot of live videos, I had people comment, I want a cap like that, where
Yeah.
can I get a cap? So, yeah, find out where he gets his, because people will buy it.
Yeah, I definitely considered bringing in items like maybe one from like Tony Butler, things like that represent attractions and other things in the city, so we could all sell them in one central location. So, just community pride.
That's cool.
And I know a lot of people asked about the Harlingen
Yes,
Strong that you guys put together and look really nice. And so it's going to be, I think it's a good thing for the community. So.
Motion? Yeah, we need a motion, right?
We did a motion, and a
Second.
second. To all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, can we pass on item 8 for tonight and bring it back for the next meeting?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Sandy.
Which one, Gabe?
Item 8, that's the CDBG report.
Okay.
Okay, she's not there.
She's outside. She's
Okay,
on the phone.
Okay, all right. So we will,
Chris, would you let Sandy know that we're not going to have her item today, please? Thank you.
okay.
So we have D and E, right?
Yes, sir.
D and E.
D and H.
All right,
NH.
Melinda.
DENH. Okay, item D, consideration and possible action to approve the preliminary construction plans and final plat with conditions of the proposed Kingswood subdivision bearing a legal description of 9.815 acres out of Lot 17, Cunningham subdivision, located on the south side of Primera Road, approximately 515.48 feet west of southbound frontage road of Expressway 77, Meldon and Hunt, Planning and Development.
Do you have a motion? Or you have questions? Gentlemen?
Interesting fact on this one, last comment, is that the neighborhood of trailer parks that I was concerned about actually called me in support of this. So yes, make a motion, make a motion.
Second.
I'm like, seriously, really fought for you? And I just get
All
slapped
those in
the face.
favor, say aye.
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 away.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I will say, just on a side note, we did look at this, so they will be doing some improvements to help that.
Thank you so much.
Item
Yeah.
10E, consideration and possible action to approve the Development Corporation of Harlingen, Inc. funding for the TSTC Gold Line Assistance Program and TSTC CTE Signing Day Scholarship Program, HEDC.
Can we get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Great job, Orlando.
Thank you.
Item 10H, discussion and possible action to establish specific dates for upcoming town hall meetings and neighborhood revitalization walks for Districts 1 through 5. The objective is to promote community engagement, address neighborhood concerns, and support revitalization efforts. Mayor.
Okay, can, Commissioner Bettis, do you have a day in June that you would like?
Let me check my calendar.
Okay. Commissioner Kinsley?
July 23rd, Wednesday, at the museum, which is where I traditionally do mine.
Yes, sir.
Nice. Perfect. Okay, Morales?
We're looking at what, August?
August?
This is on a weekday. Let's shoot for the 5th.
The 5th of August?
Correct.
Okay. And
Where at, sir?
are you still looking, Rini?
I would say the 12th.
The 12th of June?
Yeah, I don't know about a location yet, though.
Okay.
We'll find one.
And Mike?
You know, talking about rain and flooding, September is peak hurricane season. You want me to have it before the hurricane, during the hurricane, or after the hurricane?
Well, we'll pray that it's not raining that day. Which day would you prefer?
Whatever day you want me to do it, I'm here.
We can pick a date for him, Mayor, and then just,
Okay, you want to pick one for him?
right now?
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
let's adopt it.
While we're looking at that, you also have on here for the Neighborhood Revitalization Walks. I have 2 more that I want to bang out as soon as possible. So I'll do one in June and one in July.
June,
And July. I'm going to
July.
take, I need to do Fair Park, so I can do that next month. And I can do my neighborhood, which is like,
And not to, because I know you're a hog for these things, but I mean, we've got some that haven't done one
I-
yet.
I was gonna
The
say-
guidance was that we would only do one a month, so I know you aggressive like me, but we got three, Rennie did one, right?
I already did one.
We got 2
Frank
that haven't
and
done
Mike
one
need to do one.
the only reason I'm being just so aggressive on it is then we would go into campaign season. And I want to bang them out before campaign season.
September
Well, you've
23rd
got
for
these
Commissioner
guys.
Mesmer.
Huh?
September 23rd?
September
That's a Tuesday.
23rd.
September 23rd?
Yes, sir, that's a Tuesday.
Okay, before we go into the neighborhoods, we also have a comprehensive town hall. And so we should do this in September? I'm sorry, October. And at that point, we will have already adopted our budget.
Yes.
And we can present to our community.
well before then,
Okay.
yes.
So can we look at our calendars for October?
You want to just stay on the Wednesdays, like October 8th?
As long as it's not a commission meeting?
Correct, so the first commission meeting in October is October 1st, the next one's October 8th.
Okay, so let's do that.
So can you make a note that you won't be able to have your P and Z meeting in here for the 8th?
You might want to check with, isn't in the beginning of October, isn't that always the TML stuff?
I think it's at the last week of,
I don't know.
It's the last week.
It's last week, okay.
Yes, it's the last week of October.
And I think that we should not have it in here because like the last time.
We're not going to have it here.
Okay,
Yeah,
well then, okay. never
Yeah,
mind.
we can look at the convention center, the community center or something, just so that way we have space. We didn't have, we had a lot of people at the last one. Yeah. Okay, so the 8th of October, so you can have your meeting in here, so we won't kick you out. Okay, so just to recap, Melinda, we have Commissioner Lopez, May 22nd, Commissioner Bettis, June 12th, Mayor Pro Tem Kinsley, July 23rd, Commissioner Morales, August 5th, Commissioner Mesmer, the 23rd. And they will provide you the locations as soon as we get those
I'll work with the mayor
within
to
the
get-
districts.
To
Okay.
get
Okay.
a location.
And so neighborhood, I echo Commissioner Kinsley's concerns. We've got, Rini has already done one. Both District 1 and District 2 have. Mike, I don't know how you're feeling with your leg there, but Morales, do you want to designate a time for you to do your neighborhood walk?
I thought I had already done that with Oscar, but I need to get with him and make sure we're on the same page.
Do you have a month?
What month did I say it was going to be, like in July?
I'm not
What month
sure.
is this, June?
This is May.
If you're going to do July, then maybe you can split, if you still want to, I don't know, just make sure that he's got space to do, since you're taking staff and it's not back-to-back.
Yeah,
That way they, they
I can
get,
just take one member of staff, I don't need the whole team. with me.
Commissioner members,
We already know what we're doing.
Mesmark's going to be a drive, doesn't have to be a walk. I mean, it's a walk, but we can drive it.
We can get you a golf cart.
Another appointment a month from now with the surgeon.
Okay, so then let's put yours on hold because of your, and then next month, we can get yours scheduled. You want to do
Those
that?
one, yeah, but those don't have to be publicized. We just,
Right, that's not part of the ordinance. We were here basically just to get the town halls, so that
Right.
way we can have those.
Right.
And then, now that you have them, can you make sure that these get on the website so
We have to
people can
publicize
start
them.
planning
Yes.
for them? And then just put to be determined on the ones that don't have their location, but to be determined within their district. We have the museum for Commissioner Kinsley, and then City Hall, which is in District 2 for
Gabe, is
Commissioner.
there, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Is there a way that we can do, because I know in one of my town halls I had,
it was a convention center.
yeah, it was at the convention center. We just got like a little room. If we can do that, that'd be good.
Yeah, we can, that's where I was going to try to have it.
Convention Center for
Yeah,
you?
convention center,
Okay.
convention center, the 12th.
And Commissioner Morales, I'd recommend trying to do the same school that you used last time,
Bowie?
if you can.
Aren't that one of those snakes?
Louis?
Yeah, it's
Yep.
snakes, I think that's what they call it. It's the coolest thing ever.
I don't know. All right. Okay. And so can we get a motion to,
I make a motion to approve the schedule as proposed and agreed to by the different members of the commission, including to, but not limited to, the additional dates that they will give to staff and coordinate.
Second.
all those in favor say aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right,
Well,
Yes, yes, sir.
12, all right. Item 12, Melinda.
Executive session. All items listed in this section will be deliberated in a closed session. Members of the public are not generally permitted to attend a closed session. Executive session items may be considered as an action item at the discretion of the mayor. However, city commission will not take any action in closed session. Items 12A, consideration with legal counsel pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071, parentheses 2, to receive attorney-client consultation protected by the attorney-client communications privilege. Item 12B, pursuant to Government Code Section 551.071, attorney consultation and contemplated litigation, Section 551.072, deliberation regarding real estate, and Section 551.087, economic development relating to the following projects. Project B1, Project Up, B2, Project Love, B3, Project Melinda, yay. B4, Project Sunshine, B5, Project Family.
Is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. It is now 8:34 PM, and we will retire to executive session. Be out shortly.
There.
Time is now 9:33 PM, and we are back from executive session and back in open session. Ms. Melinda?
Item 13, action on executive session items. The city commission will reconvene in open session and may take action on any item listed in the executive session section of this agenda. 13A, consideration and possible action on item 12A as discussed in executive session. 13B, consideration and possible action on item 12B, 1 through 5, as discussed in executive session.
Motion to proceed as discussed.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously, and we are adjourned.